For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Senate passed legislation on Thursday legalizing hemp as an agricultural commodity as part of an $867 billion farm bill. The provision was included in a wide-ranging agricultural and food policy legislation passed by the Senate by a vote of 86 to 11. Hemp will be removed from the federal list of controlled substances, and the cultivation, processing, and sale of industrial hemp will be legalized as part of the legislation. It will also allow researchers to apply for grants from the Agricultural Department and make hemp farmers eligible for crop insurance. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky praised passage of the bill. The Senate Farm Bill also lowered the adjusted gross income threshold for which farmers are no longer eligible for farm subsidies from $900,000 to $700,000. The bill also included fewer restrictions on supplemental nutrition program benefits, food stamps, than the version of the bill that passed the House last week. The House bill will cut benefits by $9 billion over the next decade and strengthens the work requirements for those seeking the benefits. The two bills will have to be reconciled before being sent to President Donald Trump for his approval. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports nearly 600 protesters were arrested during a clangorous occupation of a U.S. Senate office building in Washington on Thursday, where they decried U.S. President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance stance on undocumented immigration. The protesters, mostly women dressed in white, sat on the Hart Senate office building's marbled floors and wrapped themselves in metallic silver blankets similar to those given to migrant children separated from their families by U.S. immigration officials. Their chant, "Say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here," echoed throughout the building, drawing scores of Senate staff to upper mezzanine floors where they watched the commotion. Capitol Police warned protesters that if they did not leave the building, they would be arrested. Soon after, protesters were lined up against a wall in small groups, and police confiscated their blankets and signs. It took police about 90 minutes to arrest them and end the demonstration. Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal sat with the protesters and was also arrested. Capitol Police said in a statement about 575 people were charged with unlawful demonstrating, and they would be processed at the scene and released. They said people who were charged and fined could pay their fines 24 hours after their arrest, but it was not clear who had been fined and how much. Democratic Senators Mazie Hirono, Tammy Duckworth, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Jeff Merkley, who have been critical of Trump's immigration policies, spoke with some of the protesters. Larger protests are being planned for Saturday in Washington, D.C. and cities around the country under the banner of #FamiliesBelongTogether. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The push to legalize marijuana is gaining momentum. These prescription doobies will do a whole lot more than just give patients a case of the munchies. Proponents are piping up to say that medical marijuana can help patients with some of the chronic illnesses that have been majorly killing their buzz. Unfortunately, 36 U.S. states are still not a kind bud of the legalization argument. But in states that do have the plan, the results have been, well, pretty far out, man. Patients nationwide are bluntly asking state legislatures to finally mellow out so that they and their doctors can work jointly to stop the suffering that's making a hash of their lives.
So it's clearly an issue that means a lot to these patients.
So states shouldn't toke their time with this policy. We'd be upset if patients had to wait a long time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial on in here toll-free to join us on the radio waves, take control of the airwaves, and bring up whatever is on your mind. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Chris.
And, of course, you can talk about anything you want. We've got a couple of follow-up stories here tonight. Chris, you've got a story about the podcasting patent that some troll had filed at one point in the past. This is a story we've covered in the past. That basically was trying to sort of move in on the territory of all these podcasters who've been out there forever podcasting, which is a way of distributing audio content through an automated system called RSS and online. And they basically were claiming we created that, and we're trying to sue some of the biggest podcasters out there over their use of the technology. You've got an update on that story.
Yes, I do.
Also, the AT&T spy rooms, which if you are a longtime listener of the show, you probably remember the Edward Snowden revelations that came out.
And even before that.
Was there news about the AT&T spy rooms before Snowden?
The AT&T thing came out before I think anything else came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was Snowden who broke that one.
Yeah, there was one guy. No, it wasn't. He released updates or more information.
Okay.
But the original, it was interesting because when Snowden came out, it was like, well, we already knew all this. I mean, well, not in detail, but like we already knew that there had been somebody who came out publicly and had like gone over like a story about how he, felt cables and like they went to the secret room and it was like split off and stuff and he investigated it more and so it was definitely revealed and I don't know if it was denied or what happened. I think it was probably a non-denial because they won't admit or deny.
We can't admit that's true.
Yeah, something like that. And which is actually kind of
so Snowden must have released some documents to help confirm it then.
Yeah, so I would say that he probably confirmed what had been purported by an AT&T worker. Is at least that's my recollection of what happened. That sounds right. Quite a few years ago now that happened. So.
Well, now, I mean, Snowden was 2013, so yeah, that was half a decade ago now already. And now it's back in the news. There was a story that was published earlier this week, at The Intercept by Ryan Gallagher and Henrique Moltke. And I just want to share some of it here because it's a very long story. We're not going to share the whole thing, but The Intercept really does good, like, in-depth reporting on some of the worst corruption, scandal, kind of outrageous technology issues out there.
This is so in-depth that there's so many. I mean, we there's no way you could get through all of this on a show. Right. There's just it literally goes over every single. I think it's every single location that they're intercepting data, like in the U.S. or something like that, and there's, I don't know, a dozen or more of them probably.
So here you go. From The Intercept, the secrets are hidden behind fortified walls in cities across the United States, inside towering, windowless skyscrapers, and fortress-like concrete structures that were built to withstand earthquakes and even nuclear attack.
There's pictures of these in The Intercept. Like there's dozens of these pictures of each of these facilities. It's right. It's unbelievable how in-depth this is. And I haven't even read the whole thing. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, no worries, man. I mean, I'm glad you're here because you are one of the hosts of a news show that I don't know if we can announce quite yet.
Yeah,
can we announce it now?
It's fair. It's fair to announce.
Okay. Well, let's do that. We'll do that here in a moment.
Okay.
All right, so you've got a new show you're doing, and you're kind of a tech guy. You run thinkpenguin.com. You're a big privacy advocate, so I'm glad you're here to comment on this. I saw this last night, and I'm like, yeah, Chris, we need to talk about this.
Yeah, this is a good one to do.
So it's a bad one to do, but it's horrible.
It's a good story to do. It's not good that they're doing it.
It's good reporting.
Right.
Thousands of people pass by these buildings each day and rarely give them a second glance because their function is not publicly known. They're an integral part of one of the world's largest telecommunications networks, and they're also linked to a controversial NSA, or National Security Agency, surveillance program. Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, New York City, San Francisco, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. In each of these cities, The Intercept has identified an AT&T facility containing networking equipment that transports large quantities of internet traffic across the United States and the world. A body of evidence, including classified NSA documents, public records, and interviews with several former AT&T employees, indicates that the buildings are central to an NSA spying initiative that has for years monitored billions of emails, phone calls, and online chats passing across U.S. territory. The NSA considers AT&T to be one of its most trusted partners. So if you needed a reason to cancel your AT&T cell phone contract or whatever it is you've got with AT&T, there's enough reason right there. They lauded the company's, quote, extreme willingness to help, unquote.
Unfortunately, though, because of the way the internet works, it doesn't matter if you cancel service with AT&T because other providers utilize AT&T's lines.
Backbone or whatever they have.
Backbones. They're one of like 6 or 7 companies that make up the backbone in every other ISP.
So because of the way the public IP, public internet protocols work, you're transferring between multiple routers between one point and another, and many of them could be AT&T run.
Right, and it's going over, it's basically your traffic goes over the fastest route to one degree or another, and you're peering with other providers. So even if you don't have AT&T, you might be communicating with somebody who has AT&T, or you might not have AT&T and the other person doesn't have AT&T, but that doesn't matter. You're still communicating over a AT&T route during part of that trip.
Okay, but if you're communicating encrypted over AT&T's routers, then what are they going to do? That
is a good question, and in that case, it's going to make it harder for the NSA to analyze your data.
They still may know the origination point of the data. Like they may know, these are encrypted packets.
So this is what we call metadata, right?
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily know what the contents are, but they know who you're communicating with. And unfortunately,
they know the destination and the origin. Right. They don't know who it is at the destination necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's an IP address that's shared by an entire corporation, you don't necessarily know who it is that's sending whatever it is out of that IP address.
Yeah, I mean, so certainly that may be the case. It may or may not be. Obviously, you do have to identify, users and stuff, but it's there, it's logged. They can look it up and they can figure it out later. So, and they don't. And the thing is, metadata is extraordinarily important. It's probably more useful than the content itself, because you don't. If you want to figure, you can always do more research later, right? Once you know who to research. But if you don't know who to research, you have nothing to, so it doesn't even matter. Like if it's encrypted, I mean, that's great. They can't, easily analyze your data, but they can analyze your metadata and then they can go and figure out whatever they want to figure out from there.
So more from the story here at the Intercept. So again, a bunch of different cities. They're monitoring billions of emails, phone calls, online chats. The NSA says the AT&T is one of its most trusted partners and has an extreme willingness to help. It's a collaboration that dates back for decades. Little known, however, is that its scope is not restricted to AT&T's customers. According to the NSA's documents, it values AT&T not only because it, quote, has access to information that transits the nation, which is what we were just talking about,
in the world,
but also because it maintains unique relationships with other phone and internet providers. The NSA exploits these relationships for surveillance purposes, commandeering AT&T's massive infrastructure and using it as a platform to covertly tap into communications processed by other companies. Much has been previously reported about the NSA's surveillance programs, but few details have been disclosed about the physical infrastructure that enables their spying. Last year, The Intercept highlighted a likely NSA facility, and we talked about this, in New York City's Lower Manhattan. And it was one of these buildings they were talking about with sort of this creepy facade, no windows, just like this monolithic, creepy structure. Like, what's going on in there?
Now, I wonder, are these, and unfortunately I haven't really read the article in depth, but are these the buildings that they're analyzing the data, or is this just where they're intercepting the data from?
I don't know. It's that much I've not been clear on.
I mean, what we already know
Could be both.
I mean, what we've known for already probably at least 10 years probably is that the data, literally the line is being tapped in such a way where a copy of the data is being sent to the NSA. Mm-hmm. Like the entire line, everything sent over from
however many petabytes or whatever that is.
Basically, the entire internet is being copied by the NSA.
That's so insane to think about that. But we're going to continue and tell you more about these mystery buildings that have now been revealed in greater detail due to good journalism, due to some Freedom of Information requests and some leaks. There's more coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts with us and the NSA, because they're listening too. 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. It's already been an extraordinary year for the Innocence Project and their clients. They've already freed more innocent people in the past 12 months than in any year in the history of the Innocence Project, and they're gearing up to do even more. The attorneys and paralegals for the Innocence Project are dedicated to doing whatever it takes to set an innocent person free. To support them, a new cohort of law students have recently joined and are excited to help with more than 200 cases of clients seeking to prove their innocence. 9 clients have been exonerated and reunited with their families in 2018 already, and your support now will help build on the incredible momentum of exonerations. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves here. Our number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. So feel free to join us there. Also, in our Discord on-air call-in line room, which is available to you, it'll make it sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us. We're sharing with you tonight, and by the way, it's Ian
And Chris?
We're sharing a disturbing story that, well, shouldn't be too surprising to anybody that has been paying attention to the news about the NSA over the last half a decade, ever since the Edward Snowden revelations came out. And Chris, you say even before that, when an AT&T employee revealed the existence of a secret room in one of their facilities used to sort of siphon off or copy off basically all the internet traffic that was running through that facility, that now it's not just a secret room, it's a series of humongous windowless buildings located in major cities across the United States.
Yeah, and it's even before the internet, there was there's various other systems in place to copy metadata, like when you send letters through the mail, and that's been going on 100 years or so, I think. And with your telephone communications too, before the internet, they also were logging various information too. So this is not, and that's probably been since like the 60s or 70s at least.
Well, some telephone companies log information for their own purposes, and they have different policies on how long they'll hold that information for. Some of it for a relatively short period of time, like a matter of days.
I mean, there's a difference though between logging information for business purposes and the NSA having access to and analyzing that data. And I think it's the it's the fact that the NSA had access to and analyzed and was utilizing that data, which is so outrageous. Not so much that there was some metadata being logged for billing purposes, right?
Exactly. So now they're talking about buildings across the United States in major cities. And The Intercept here, this is a report released this week. Now they are revealing for the first time a series of other buildings across the U.S. that appear to serve a similar function. So they revealed last year the likely NSA facility in Manhattan. And we covered that story when that happened. Now it's like more like 8 or 9. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it looks like 9 of them.
It's quite a few.
They've identified.
There was at least, I think, one building like 10 or more years ago that was identified as well. But I think what we know now is that we have so many of these buildings identified, right? And I think that's the main thing that this story brings out. Not so much that there are facilities. I'm not even sure I recall the second facility that was identified recently, like a year ago. I probably saw it, but I just don't recall it.
It's the critical part of these buildings are one of the world's most powerful electronic eavesdropping systems, and they're hidden in plain sight. Elizabeth Goyton, the co-director of the Liberty and National Security Program at the Brennan Center for Justice, says, quote, "It's eye-opening and ominous to the extent to which this is happening right here on American soil. It puts a face on surveillance that we could never think of before in terms of actual buildings and facilities in our own cities, in our own backyards," she said. There are hundreds of AT&T-owned properties scattered across the U.S. The 8 of them identified by The Intercept serve a specific function, processing AT&T's customers' data and also carrying large quantities of data from other internet providers. They are known as backbone and peering facilities. And these are terms that are sort of high-level internet operating terms, right? The backbone is essentially, as I understand it, the guts, if you will, the tubes, as George Bush might have described it, that basically carries the bulk of the data from point A to point B or C or whatever.
There's really only a handful of internet providers out there.
The backbone
providers that carry the most of the data between major points.
And then people presumably rent space or bandwidth on those providers. Right?
Yeah. So
other companies,
smaller ISPs that might have a local or regional network would connect to
them.
And
most of the names of these backbone companies aren't ones you're familiar with, right? Like, it's not Comcast, it's Level 3, or like, I don't know them all, but I've heard of these.
AT&T is one of the backbone providers.
That would be one you'd recognize, but like, how many of them are like household names?
Most of them are not.
Probably not.
Yeah. I'm trying to even think of what some of the others are.
Because they're mostly not marketing to. They're not marketing at all to the average consumer. They're marketing business to business.
I mean, these are. I guess you would call them wholesale providers, so to speak.
Correct.
These entities have agreements with each other primarily, and then they rent space to other large entities.
So like they might rent Comcast.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
While networks would usually prefer to send their data through their own networks, often a more direct and cost-efficient path is provided by others' infrastructure. If one network in a specific area of the country is overloaded with data traffic, another operator with capacity to spare can sell or exchange bandwidth, reducing strain on the congested region. The exchange of traffic is called peering and is an essential feature of the Internet. Because of AT&T's position as one of the U.S. leading telecommunications companies, it has a large network that is frequently used by other providers to transport their customers' data.
Exactly.
Companies that peer with AT&T include the American telecommunications giants Sprint, Cogent Communications, and Level 3, as well as foreign companies such as Sweden's Telia, India's Tata Communications, Italy's Telecom Italia, and Germany's Deutsche Telekom. AT&T currently boasts 19,500 points of presence in 149 countries where internet traffic is exchanged, but only 8 of the company's facilities in the U.S. offer direct access to its common backbone, that is, key data routes that carry vast amounts of emails, internet chats, social media updates, and internet browsing sessions. These 8 locations are among the most important in AT&T's global network. They're also highly valued by the NSA, according to the documents.
You know what's so interesting about this is the internet was originally designed to survive a nuclear attack, but it's become so centralized that you could actually take it out.
If AT&T shut off their facility, for instance.
I mean, it's really kind of scary because we think of this very, this network that we depend on for everything. If one bad actor decided to come in and, blow things up or whatever, there's not that many places that they would have to target.
Is there a way to decentralize the internet?
Sure, but it's cheaper to run all the cables along the same route, and thus you can easily take out a whole region.
So centralization has benefits, is what you're saying. It has cost benefits.
Right, it has cost benefits, so it doesn't occur, and it's also got other benefits, like it makes it easier to tap into, for intelligence purposes and such. So
the government definitely doesn't want to see a decentralized internet happen. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
So where would you start with the decentralized internet? Would it have to be like a mesh networking kind of setup where people just sort of create their own overlay somehow on top of the existing structure?
Honestly, I'm not an expert in that particular area, really. I know a little bit about mesh networking, and
because wireless isn't exactly reliable, right? You're going to lose packets, you're going to lose data.
Fiber. So what we use for the backbone are basically it's fiber, right? It's physical lines. It's light. That's
little bits
basically
of glass that carry light.
Right. So if you want to send large amounts of data like that goes over the internet, you can't use wireless. I mean, wireless is getting better, but it's not going to give you the capacity to carry the internet,
real heavy lifting.
Yeah. So I don't know what the answer is, but it's certainly, you could certainly to a lesser degree decentralize more.
Let's talk more about the future of the internet here and what's going on with the NSA tapping into all kinds of communications. It's still happening, you know that. You can't trust these people to change their ways. They're not going to change anything. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. More about the secretive buildings that the AT&T company is operating on behalf of the NSA coming up.
If you like alkaline water, or know someone that does, you're going to love the Dylan Living Water Bottle. It creates alkaline water on the go while reducing plastic waste and saving you money. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, the Dylan bottle increases the pH up to 9 to deliver both alkaline and antioxidant water anywhere you want it. Alkaline water is healthier, tastes better, and can even boost energy. The Dylan bottle makes it easy and affordable to be healthy and achieve optimal hydration. Get your Dylan bottle today at byln.co. That's byln.co.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and take control of the airwaves here. The number's 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. Skype username here is LRN.FM. Plus, there's our Discord on-air call-in line room. Joining you in the studio here tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. If you are interested in learning about Bitcoin, there really is probably no better place to go, no easier website to remember, Bitcoin.com. You go there and you can learn the basics about the coin that started it all. And then if you want, you can get some BTC or Bitcoin Cash through Bitcoin.com and get your first Bitcoin that way. So once again, go to Bitcoin.com. Also, if you want the latest news headlines, you can go to news.bitcoin.com. They've got them every single day, fresh news and information there about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world over at news.bitcoin.com. As we continue here, we're sharing a creepy story about the NSA and their immense partnership with AT&T. Turns out it's not just a room in a building somewhere. Turns out, and you probably aren't that surprised to find this out, knowing the extent to which the NSA spying was revealed back in just 2013, 5 years ago. It was the summer of 2013 when the Edward Snowden revelations began coming out. You knew it was going to be bigger, and it is. Turns out it's at least 8 very large facilities in major cities across the United States that happen to be at AT&T's, tapped into their backbone of the internet traffic that they carry for, turns out, a lot of companies, not just their own internet traffic, but many other companies' internet traffic as well, which means they might have access to pretty much every email that you have ever sent.
Everybody, literally everybody is tied. I mean, everybody is affected by this. Everybody is using their connection.
Yeah,
it's just,
you can't avoid it.
You can't avoid it, right? There's literally like 8 different companies with like a backbone providing backbone service. Like there's no way to avoid them.
Right, unless you're sending a message to somebody who's on the exact same local network as you. It's probably going through AT&T.
It is still potentially going through AT&T. This is the crazy thing. It's how it's networked. If you ever do, you can actually look using certain tools. You can
like a trace route.
Yeah, exactly. You can type in a trace route, and you can see like all the traffic that I send basically goes to New York, and then even if it's I'm connecting to somebody else in New Hampshire, in Keene,
it's still jumping to New York first.
On the same network, it goes to New York and then comes back.
Wow. And that's a command line thing, but it is interesting to kind of see the path of the data.
Yeah,
how you can do that. So the data exchange here, this is The Intercept that did a really detailed investigative piece, and they're the ones breaking this news. They deserve full credit. They've done just some incredible work over time. And for those that don't recall, it was Glenn Greenwald who helped found, I think, The Intercept. He's their main kind of reporter head guy, and
yeah, he does good work.
He was the guy who helped break the Edward Snowden story way back in the day. So he was working for The Guardian at the time, and then he did his own thing here, and I think he's still over there at The Intercept, although this isn't his story that he wrote. The credit goes to, let's see, Ryan Gallagher and Enrique Moltke. Continuing, the data exchange between AT&T and other networks initially takes place outside of AT&T's control, said sources, at third-party data centers that are owned and operated by companies such as California's Equinix. But the data is then routed in whole or in part through the 8 AT&T buildings, where the NSA taps into it. By monitoring what it calls the peering circuits at the 8 sites, the spy agency can collect, quote, not only AT&T's data, they get all the data that's interchanged between AT&T's network and other companies. And that's according to Mark Klein, former AT&T technician who worked with the company for 22 years. It's an efficient point to conduct internet surveillance, said Klein, quote, because the peering links, by the nature of the connections, are liable to carry everybody's traffic at one point or another during the day or week or the year, unquote. Spokesbureaucrat for the NSA, Christopher Augustine, said in a statement, the agency could, quote, neither confirm nor deny its role in alleged classified intelligence activities. Augustine declined to answer questions about the AT&T facilities, but said that the NSA does, quote, conduct its foreign signals intelligence mission under the legal authorities established by Congress and is bound by both policy and law to protect U.S. persons' privacy and civil liberties. Well, that's a load of crap.
And it's interesting because I do believe there was a Supreme Court ruling that said this is okay. It's absolutely insane. It's like they're supposedly not allowed to like look at your data, but the reality is in order to look at other people's data like overseas, they have to look at your data too. And so it's been permissible that the Supreme Court said it's okay if they copy everybody's data.
Right. As long as they're investigating somebody else, they can look at your stuff too. So as long as they're investigating somebody in, Afghanistan or whatever, they can look at everything tangentially related. And the claim just, we know these people are liars, right? Because you remember when the Snowden revelation started to come out, Snowden and the newspapers were trickling out the documents, right? Like they didn't just release the papers had access to all the documents, but they didn't just release them all in one fell swoop. They would release a little bit here and then a little bit later, and it gave the NSA enough rope to kind of hang themselves because the NSA would keep coming out and denying, and acting like this was all bad information.
Which is interesting because they usually it won't confirm nor deny anything, and during that they actually were denying stuff, which is very rare.
Which they then were found to be lying about their denials, and they were basically trying to cover up. So when this guy actually has the balls to say that they're conducting it legally, well, we know they weren't conducting it legally. We know that they were doing illegal things,
of course,
and then they got called on it. And of course, now they're acting like, well, we've cleaned up our mission now. We are the new NSA. We are the trustworthy NSA. You can trust us now. This time, right?
And sure. It's interesting because it's like they're found to be like not complying with the law, but at the same time they're like, oh, it's okay if you continue to do it. It's like we're not actually
there's no punishment.
Right, exactly.
You can break the law if you're the NSA, and all you get is a rebuke from Congress. That's it. If you break the law, on the other hand, you, the listener, or those of us in the studio here, we go to prison.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They just, they don't even get fired over this. and the idea that they're protecting U.S. persons' privacy and civil liberties. Oh, really? Sure. So that's why with these tools that we heard about, what was it? X-Keyscore was one of them. They have these names for these tools that they could use to basically, with just somebody's email address or IP address, monitor every single thing those people were doing on their computers at some time in the past. And if you don't think that there's like some NSA employee out there who's researching his girlfriend or, that kind of stuff.
There absolutely are.
Right?
Yeah. And they have like the stuff that we hear about is like they have some really low level tools. Like most of the stuff that you hear about, like X-Keyscore, that's not a low level tool. That's like a high level tool, right?
They've got like elite hacking tools.
Right. Like they have access to your computer at the lowest level imaginable. Yep. Like you can't secure your computer, period, right now.
That's scary stuff. And this is stuff you research regularly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
ThinkPenguin.com.
There's certain things that the NSA has done that we've learned about in terms of the CPUs, where some of these backdoors are kind of hidden. There's something called the Intel Management Engine firmware, and one of the things that the government did was basically to disable the backdoor. They had Intel add a feature that disables part of the Intel Management Engine firmware to basically disable the backdoor that they ship with every Intel CPU, which is in every computer pretty much except for a handful of AMD's. But AMD's got something
they probably
equivalent.
Have their own thing.
Yeah. So it's funny because it's sort of funny and sort of not. But we can actually take advantage of this, like on our systems when we ship them. We can disable part of the Intel Management Engine firmware, but we don't really know if everything is being disabled still, but we do have we're pretty confident. Like I'd say,
is that because that code is closed source?
Yeah, because the code's right, exactly, because it's closed source where we don't have the sources for this pieces. We can't know for sure that everything's disabled, and part of the Intel Management Engine firmware still has to run. It still has to execute, but we do know that we're taking advantage of this piece to disable that was designed for the government.
We're going to dig deeper into these creepy AT&T facilities located across the United States, monitoring all kinds of data that are passing through their routers and hands that is going then directly to the NSA to do who knows what with. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, but whatever it is, it's probably not good for liberty. 855-450-3733. Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Deagle, MD, AAEM, ACAM, A4M, of NutriMedical.com, and a consultant providing email advice free on advanced protocols for your optimized wellness and advanced technologies to heal and regenerate you. You can contact us at NutriMedical.com, that's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. You get free email starter protocols of our top medical-grade nutraceuticals, initial testing, and recommendations for your own primary doctor to do, as well as recommendations to give you an idea of a consultation and a full protocol to try to help you regenerate your tissues, heal naturally without the use of toxic polypharmacy. I can send test kits to you as well anywhere in the world and provide you recommendations to referral of specialty clinics worldwide. So contact me, Dr. Bill Deagle, at NutriMedical.com. That's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can join us on the radio waves here. Take control of the airwaves. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about the creepy AT&T buildings that apparently don't even have windows. I mean, can you imagine working in a place without any windows? Any windows whatsoever? The only time you see outside is on your way to and from work? For an 8-hour shift or 10-hour shift or whatever.
I don't know. I've seen buildings without windows before. I'm trying to think where it was. Somewhere in California.
Yeah, like military blast bunkers or something like that to protect you from a nuclear attack.
I forget if it was Seattle or I think it might have been Seattle.
What's the reason for building a building with no windows?
It looks weird.
Yeah,
like it looks really weird. It looks like some sort of military building too.
Right. So who knows what's going on in there? I mean, it's something they want to protect, presumably.
I mean, if you looked at the buildings, I mean, have you seen the buildings that they take pictures of? I mean, you could almost just identify it just by walking past it.
Right.
I mean, these buildings don't appear to be hidden. They're in
they're humongous.
Big cities and small cities, and
they're right in the downtown. Very
downtown
large,
areas.
tall, metropolitan style buildings.
Yeah, and they're big. They're these surprisingly, because I would think they would be. I would have thought they would have been much smaller. But they're not.
Turns out there's a bunch of them, and at least 8 of them that now have been identified by The Intercept over at theintercept.com. And they were talking with some former. They did a Freedom of Information Act request, and they talked to some former AT&T people who had worked there for decades. And according to the AT&T spokesperson, Jim Greer, he said AT&T was, quote, required by law to provide information to government and law enforcement entities by complying with court orders, subpoenas, lawful discovery requests, and other legal requirements. He added the company provides, quote, voluntary assistance to law enforcement when a person's life is in danger and other immediate emergency situations. In all cases, we ensure that requests for assistance are valid and that we act in compliance with the law.
Wait a minute. This is the NSA that's doing this?
No, this is AT&T's statement.
AT&T is doing this.
But this is the same company that the NSA said in one of its documents that they have an extreme willingness to help. So the NSA says AT&T will do basically whatever we ask. They are extremely willing to help, while AT&T is acting like, oh, we only help when the law enforcement requires us to,
this is
or
so
it's an
disturbing.
emergency.
I mean, this is supposed to be like intelligence data, and they're giving all these exceptions, and now they're saying, it sounds like to me anyway, they're saying, oh, but we'll use it for other purposes. Well, if you can use it for other purposes, you're violating the very fundamental exception that they gave you in order to collect the data in the first place. I don't know. This is just it's wrong, and then they're going to expand on it. Once they allow it for one thing, they're going to add other uses, like probably almost certainly, and I think we even have cases that we know about where they've used it for drugs and parallel construction.
What do you mean by that? Parallel construction.
Parallel construction.
It's a legal term, right?
It's where like an FBI agent gets on the stand and they basically give you how did they, you're gonna the FBI is gonna be asked, well, how did you come across this information? How did you identify to pull this person over? Well, they make something else up instead of giving you the real
truth
reason,
about
a plausible story that isn't the source of the information. They got it from the NSA.
They can't say that.
But they can't say that, so they give you some other line.
I remember that. That was the theory behind how they busted the Silk Road, was that the NSA had somehow
almost certainly that's probably how they did it. Yeah,
and they didn't have to reveal it during the trial because they never called that witness. And
they do all sorts of things to avoid answering the question, and if they did have the FBI agent if they were put up on the stand, they probably just would have given some other plausible explanation for it
rather than revealing their actual tech.
I mean, it's sort of like this. The NSA will say, look for a car, with a license plate, whatever, and then they'll find that car, and then once they find that car, they'll come up with some other reason to pull it over. For example, an out to LA. But the reason they were looking at that car was because they had the NSA information.
They shouldn't have.
The NSA didn't necessarily tell them why to look at that car. Maybe they did, but maybe they didn't. But the point is that they looked at the car because of the NSA information that is supposed to be, not revealed to FBI and police and stuff, and
it's information that they presumably would have needed a warrant to obtain otherwise.
Exactly.
But they obtained it illegally, and so they can't tell you how
they
obtained it. And we'll continue here. Your calls and thoughts also welcome. You can bring and put you on. But I do want to mention Zencash, which you can now, if you're watching our cam feed over at twitch.lrn.fm, you will see our Zencash banner in the background. They are a great sponsor. We're glad to have them on board. It's a great cryptocurrency founded by voluntarists, people who actually do understand liberty and who actually understand economics. So you've got a cryptocurrency that so far no one has told me any other cryptos do this. They actually talk about voluntarism in their white papers. I mean, this is a real deal voluntarist cryptocurrency, but also they've got some of the best technology. It's something that you've taken a close look at and you've given your seal of approval to.
Oh, yeah. We interviewed on another show called A Freedom.
Right.
We actually interviewed one of the developers, and every single question we basically threw at them, they had a
good answer,
good and correct and proper answer to.
Yep.
And I was impressed, and I'm not easily impressed as probably. Well, I know Ian, but probably some of the listeners also are aware.
You got a very, very high set of standards.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes unwieldily high set of standards.
Yeah.
Sometimes you punish yourself because your standards are so high.
Oh yeah, I've never been on Facebook as an example.
Good for you,
I mean,
man.
It's
I'm
like
now going through. This is my 7th month without Facebook.
I mean, it's just like a perfect example. I mean, think about the amount of effort, that I must have had to go through to remain off of Facebook all these years. Everybody's on Facebook, and yet a very technical person like me is not on Facebook.
Indeed. But you are on the Shire Society forums.
This is correct.
Over at forum.shiresociety.com. So anyway, Zencash, go to zencash.com. You can learn more. You can read the white paper, learn about their secure node system, which now they have over 12,000 secure nodes, making them one of the most secure cryptocurrencies in the world. You can go and learn more at zencash.com as we continue. Didn't you buy some Zen this week?
I did, actually.
That's what I thought.
I have Zen.
Excellent.
I have a lot of Zen, actually.
Yeah, Daryl sold you some.
It's the second time I've purchased Zen, and I'm still trying to spend it. But it's a little bit challenging still, unfortunately.
It's not really positioned like digital cat, like Dash is.
It's still not quite there. But
it's too new. It's really new.
It is very new.
And considering how new it is, it's been very successful, I would say, for its first year out.
It does work really well. I have been able to really readily send between wallets and so forth and other people without a problem. And I do believe
it's got the zero knowledge anonymity, so it's got the privacy factors.
And I did purchase I believe lunch from Will Coley at
Forkfest.
Forkfest, yes. So yeah, I mean, it was it's you can use it.
If you're going to be able to use it, it'll probably be in New Hampshire. Most likely.
And I'm sure there will be more people, especially here in New Hampshire, that as time progresses, it'll become easier to get on board. But if you're an early adopter, I would say, if you're that technical person, it's now is a great time to check it out.
Yeah, I keep meaning to look into the secure node thing and like see what it takes to set one of those things up, because there's a bunch of them out there. Obviously, people think it's a good idea because it's one of the most popular as far as nodes are concerned, cryptos out there. It's like last time I heard it was number 2, and the only one that was more popular was Ethereum. So anyway, Zencash.com, go and check them out when you get a chance. As we continue here, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We'll get back into the AT&T story because there's more to say. This is big news, and it does bring up the question of privacy. And of course, Zencash being a privacy-conscious cryptocurrency, giving you the option to send via private send. It's not necessarily something you have to do. That's what I love about it. Yeah. But it is there if you want to use that feature. Privacy is something that. And I realize that if you're not new to the show, you've heard this discussion before, but I think it's a discussion worth having again and again, which is to say that your privacy is your responsibility. It doesn't matter what the AT&T is going to tell you, or the NSA is going to tell you, or your cable company is going to tell you, or what other these corporations and their terms of service might happen to say, or their privacy policy. Not that anybody ever reads those things, but doesn't matter, because whatever those things say is one thing, and then there's the reality of what those companies are actually doing. And I'm sorry, I don't trust AT&T. I certainly don't trust the government.
Yeah, you can't rely on the government to protect your privacy. Right. You have to adopt technological solutions to ensure your privacy, or you really don't have it.
And that means learning. That means there's a learning curve. That means there's a cost involved. There's the cost of the time of learning how to protect your privacy.
It does get easier, though. It has been getting a little bit easier over the years.
Let's talk about some of the solutions to this, because I don't just want to paint this picture of doom and gloom. The evil NSA has access to everything, and you can never have any privacy. Is it really true? Can you really never have privacy in this day and age, or are there still some things that you can do? So let's talk about that coming up here, because I consider you an expert on the subject.
I am.
Chris Wade is with us here from thinkpenguin.com, and we're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Hour number 2 is next. Our number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733, or Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. It's Free Talk Live.
How well and how fast does Heart and Body Extract work to improve blood circulation? Listen.
My name is Ellis, and I'm 66 years old, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed as having clogged arteries. I had 70% blockage in one artery leading to my heart. They wanted me to go on Plavix, but I refused, knowing the negative side effects.
Heart and Body Extract is a unique balance, synergy, and proportion of herbs reaching from head to toe at maximum absorption around 95% at the cellular level.
Within the first month, I felt a dramatic difference. The heaviness in my legs was reduced, and within 2 months, I felt completely normal.
Your natural organic herbal formula for heart health is Heart and Body Extract. Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract. Call 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, June 29th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,249 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,877. Antiwar.com reports Syrian and Russian warplanes continued airstrikes against rebel-held areas in the southwestern Daraa province, looking to soften up rebel defenses ahead of a planned offensive. Thursday was reportedly the deadliest day for civilians in those areas since the bombardment began over a week ago. The deadliest of Thursday's attacks was in Al-Musafra, where an airstrike hit a shelter full of civilians, killing at least 17 within. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, 5 children were among those slain. With towns like Al-Musafra likely to be attacked in the near future, large numbers of civilians are choosing to flee instead of hiding within. Over the past week, in excess of 50,000 civilians have fled, mostly towards the Jordanian border, where they hope to wait out the offensive. Daraa is the top priority target for the Syrian government at the moment as the last major rebel holding in the south. Once retaken, this effectively isolates the rebels into the far north in Idlib and the northernmost parts of Aleppo, where Turkish forces have propped up rebels. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Senate passed legislation on Thursday legalizing hemp as an agricultural commodity as part of an $867 billion farm bill. The provision was included in a wide-ranging agricultural and food policy legislation passed by the Senate by a vote of 86-11. Hemp will be removed from the federal list of controlled substances, and the cultivation, processing, and sale of industrial hemp will be legalized as part of the legislation. It will also allow researchers to apply for grants from the Agricultural Department and make hemp farmers eligible for crop insurance. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky praised passage of the bill. The Senate Farm Bill also lowered the adjusted gross income threshold for which farmers are no longer eligible for farm subsidies from $900,000 to $700,000. The bill also included fewer restrictions on supplemental nutrition program benefits, food stamps, than the version of the bill that passed the House last week. The House bill will cut benefits by $9 billion over the next decade and strengthens the work requirements for those seeking the benefits. The two bills will have to be reconciled before being sent to President Donald Trump for his approval. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports nearly 600 protesters were arrested during a clangorous occupation of a U.S. Senate office building in Washington on Thursday, where they decried U.S. President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance stance on undocumented immigration. The protesters, mostly women dressed in white, sat on the Hart Senate office building's marbled floors and wrapped themselves in metallic silver blankets similar to those given to migrant children separated from their families by U.S. immigration officials. Their chant, "Say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here," echoed throughout the building, drawing scores of Senate staff to upper mezzanine floors where they watched the commotion. Capitol Police warned protesters that if they did not leave the building, they would be arrested. Soon after, protesters were lined up against a wall in small groups, and police confiscated their blankets and signs. It took police about 90 minutes to arrest them and end the demonstration. Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal sat with the protesters and was also arrested. Capitol Police said in a statement about 575 people were charged with unlawful demonstrating, and they would be processed at the scene and released. They said people who were charged and fined could pay their fines 24 hours after their arrest, but it was not clear who had been fined and how much. Democratic Senators Mazie Hirono, Tammy Duckworth, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Jeff Merkley, who have been critical of Trump's immigration policies, spoke with some of the protesters. Larger protests are being planned for Saturday in Washington, D.C. and cities around the country under the banner of #FamiliesBelongTogether. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
According to a groundbreaking new study published Thursday in the New England Journal of Medicine, psychologists have discovered that the average person, while ostensibly appearing to be normal and mentally sound in their day-to-day lives, immediately becomes a deranged psychotic when alone at home.
We observed hundreds of subjects with successful careers, numerous friends, and loving families. Perfectly normal. But as soon as they were at their homes by themselves, they began presenting behavior consistent with those suffering from dementia, schizophrenia, and various other acute mental illnesses.
Researchers illustrated the study's findings with footage of 29-year-old test subject Brian Temple, who, despite having a steady job and maintaining an ordinary social life, exhibited increasingly erratic and unstable activity from the moment he was alone in his apartment, including dancing in his kitchen to no music whatsoever. Making grotesque faces in the mirror for extended periods of time, and seemingly having conversations with no one in particular.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We've been talking about the new information about the much larger network of AT&T buildings that exist in major cities across the United States. There are at least 8 of them that have been identified by a recent detailed report at The Intercept, which we've been sharing some of the information there with you about these buildings. They're creepy, windowless structures that are very, very large and, in downtown areas in cities like New York and D.C. and San Francisco and elsewhere, according to the reports, that give AT&T access, because of their internet backbones that they operate, to a whole lot more data than just AT&T customers. In fact, international data is crossing through these facilities, as well as customers of various internet service providers across the United States. And they're just siphoning off copies of all this data over to the NSA. We'll continue with more on this story. By the way, with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And then we'll talk about how you can protect your privacy, if it's even possible, in this day and age. It's going to take some effort, though, likely. We'll get into the solutions here in moments, because I don't want this to just be doom and gloom about the problem of the NSA. But Gary is with us right now. And Gary, you're calling from Rapid City, South Dakota, listening online. Go ahead.
Hi. You remember that I may have talked to you twice when I was in China.
Oh, I don't recall everything, but I hope you won't take it personal. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay. Well, I've recently come back, and anyway, my thing is about the international traffic, because that's what I can associate with. When I was talking to friends of mine from there on Skype, and I know that's now taken over by Microsoft.
Yes.
We were talking about 9/11. I put in keywords like thermite or other stuff, and it would say message not sent. And, we could talk normal stuff, but it would block certain keywords. And I wondered if that had something to do with this filter that they're using.
Well, we're not talking about that they're manipulating the traffic necessarily, although that's possible, I suppose.
You're talking about China. This was happening to you in China, right? Because China does have something like that.
But I was talking to people in America,
Yeah, but you were personally in China.
It had to go through the Chinese firewall, the Great Firewall of China, basically, and they have all sorts
of... But using a VPN. Yeah, so I'm just curious. Because
the VPN was going to an American server?
Yes, and
was it an authorized one by the Chinese government? Because it might have still been
Well, it's ExpressVPN, yeah, so they're the ones that are authorized.
Okay, so that's why. There you go.
So if they're authorized, that means they have to follow the Chinese blocking rules.
Right. So you're not really protecting your privacy against the government if it's an authorized.
Right. There's no point in using a VPN if it's authorized.
Right.
Well, you couldn't get Google without it. You couldn't get Facebook without it. You couldn't get YouTube without it. You couldn't get any of that.
So wait. So you're saying this authorized VPN is allowing people to access sites that the Chinese government doesn't want them to access?
That's right.
Okay, then why would they authorize it?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, they probably authorize it for foreigners, I suppose. Or maybe
that might be.
But the thing is, the other main point was the thing about the Constitution, where we're supposed to be safe in our privacy. Like they're not allowed to just enter your home. Well, it seems to me like if you have a computer in your home and you're talking to somebody, that's a private conversation. It would apply,
You would think.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Supreme Court is more likely to rule in favor of whatever the government's interpretation of the Fourth Amendment happens to be.
Yeah, and that's basically what they've done. I mean, they're saying basically because they're not using it for a purpose that conflicts, like they can monitor it, but they really are, because then they give FBI agents and police and stuff information that helps lead to non-national security related, investigations, right? So they're just not using the information collected against people in court, but they're still using the information.
Yeah.
Right. So
well, anyway, that's the point that I wanted to make.
Well, thank you, Gary, for the call tonight. As far as who was doing that blocking, whether it was Microsoft or the Skype, or it was your VPN, it's obviously hard to tell that. But either way, probably you don't want to have sensitive conversations over Skype anyway, regardless of whoever's internet connection you're on.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft is also one of the NSA's buddies.
Well, the whole reason Microsoft acquired them was because the first for people who don't know, Skype was actually very decentralized in how it operated
originally.
And originally. And the NSA, I think it was set up some sort of company to buy it or something, or something along those lines. Anyway, so something happened where that company then didn't cooperate with the NSA or something like that. So they had Microsoft acquire the assets or that company or something.
I see.
And so then they centralized it, and it's known. It's like a known fact that Skype is backdoored now.
Basically, yeah. So I think Snowden
not basically
revealed that.
We know for a fact. I forget exactly what happened. I
think it was a Snowden release.
It might have been a Snowden release, but yeah, I mean that's the whole reason. I mean, it makes sense. That's why they would centralize it, because it costs more to have it centralized, right? Like the whole reason that it was decentralized was for money reasons. It wasn't because it made the service better or anything like that. It was entirely a money issue.
Well, in theory, if you're directly connecting to the person with whom you're talking, that should make the service better, because then you don't have to go through a centralized server.
Yeah,
right? That would be a more efficient way of
potentially.
doing
It also
chats.
Potentially gets around certain censorship. So if you maybe have a company and your network administrators don't authorize Skype, well, maybe if it's decentralized, they can more easily get around it, because no longer there's not a central server to block.
Right, or you can change the ports or something.
Yeah,
like that
right, exactly. But it's automated. The code was automated to do that, so there was not a technical hurdle. It just did it automatically.
Let's talk to Vernon. He's on the line in New Orleans. You're on Free Talk Live, listening via AT&T. Go ahead, Vernon.
No. So listening to you all talk about this, it sounds like to me you all think these buildings are full of offices with people listening to people's phone calls and whatnot.
Oh, no, we didn't say that at all. We didn't say that at all.
It's a switching building. It's like a data center.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to have windows.
Kind of saying
it's
something like that earlier. But yeah,
what?
I think Ian Ian was saying something like that earlier about how it would be really horrible to work in such a building.
Yeah, that's not. That wasn't saying that there are people there monitoring your communications. What I'm saying is it would suck to work in a building like that, because they have people working there. It's not like it's an empty facility.
I'm also at the same time I'm really glad that it's not full of windows, and when a storm blows through, when a hurricane blows through or whatever, at least the windows aren't going to pop out and all the lines get cut or whatever because of a branch going through or something.
Sure.
I
that might be a good thing, though.
Wait, what would be a good thing?
I mean, if it's so, I don't know. So unfortunately, I didn't read the article clearly, and I don't even know if they made that clear in the article. But if it is simply a copy of the data where it's being analyzed, and that's a good thing if the line gets cut, because your data still flows.
The primary purpose of the building is for our internet. I love my internet. I use my internet more than the TV. I don't want my internet cut. Now, yeah, I agree that whatever data snooping they might be doing is ridiculous, but that is certainly not the primary purpose of that building looking fortified. And one interesting fact.
Yes, he might be right.
I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is really true or not. But in Knoxville, Tennessee, in downtown, that ugly AT&T looking building is supposedly the closest building built to an interstate. And seriously, there's about 2 or 3 feet between the building and Interstate 40. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard. But yeah, you see that ugly
I don't
building
know. I'm sorry if I
every time you drive through
miscommunicated,
it.
but I didn't mean to suggest that these buildings were exclusive to the NSA. These are just
I
the
apologize.
buildings where the NSA
has tapped into
these. Right.
So
okay, yeah, I'm sorry. The way you were phrasing it made it
No,
sound
the
like
NSA didn't build these buildings for AT&T. AT&T has these buildings for their infrastructure, and the NSA has some significant amount of utility there.
Yeah, let's back up. So these are I do recall now what it was that the article said. So they are not NSA buildings.
No,
the
they're
buildings
AT&T
are
buildings.
AT&T buildings and other ISPs, backbone ISPs, and this is just where the NSA is tapping into them.
Exactly.
And
And the reason they're
being
so
copied.
big is because switching technology is changed. I'm sure if you were to tour one, maybe a third of it, if that, is actually used by equipment anymore. You know.
Well, I don't know.
Whenever
That's
these were first built
speculative.
Back in the 60s or 70s, they were full of equipment. I mean,
Well, I don't know. We can't tell you because they're not going to let you tour it. Hey, thanks, Vernon.
That's
I
true.
appreciate
Thank
hearing
you.
from you tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450 free like freedom.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Just dial toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian
and Chris.
As we continue here, we were sharing with you the story about AT&T and the several buildings, 8 of them at least, that have been identified by The Intercept at theintercept.com, where they are teaming up with the NSA to divert all kinds of internet traffic into the hands of the NSA for who knows what nefarious purposes. We'll share more about that with you. But I want to let you know about the Tom Woods podcast. It's the Tom Woods Show. Of course, a lot of libertarians got to know Tom Woods during the Ron Paul campaigns of 2008 and 2012. If you don't know him, he's a New York Times best-selling author. He's written over a dozen books, including The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. And since September of 2013, so for about half a decade now, Tom Woods has been putting out the Tom Woods Show every single weekday, which means he's logged nearly 1,200 episodes so far, including guests like Ron Paul, Judge Andrew Napolitano, David Stockman, and hundreds more, including topics like war, the Federal Reserve, net neutrality, the FDA, Austrian economics, and other subjects of interest to liberty-minded folks. You can find the Tom Woods Show online at tomwoods.com or search for Tom Woods Show in your favorite podcatcher. As we continue here from The Intercept, I'm going to share some more of this story, digging into the details on these buildings that have now been, this is breaking news basically by The Intercept. The story came out earlier this week. AT&T spokesperson sort of blew off the questions from The Intercept, saying, oh, well, we will only do whatever law enforcement requires through court orders, subpoenas, and lawful discovery requests, and acts as though any voluntary assistance given to law enforcement is only when a person's life is in danger. But on the other hand, the NSA refers to AT&T as extremely willing to help. So what do you think the truth is about what AT&T is doing as far as assisting the NSA?
You know why they're so interested in helping? The U.S. federal government is a huge benefactor to AT&T financially.
Like a contractor? They're like a contractor for them?
Yeah, any kind of large business actually has significant financial deals with government.
Right.
It's just how things are. And even small companies, even think Penguin.
You've had some government deals.
I mean, like, we could get away without it, but it's the point that I'm trying to make is that it's in a company's interest to do business, and if you don't do what the NSA says, well, guess what? You're going to lose some of those contracts. And the question is, if that's not your business privacy, you're probably just going to give in, and it's not AT&T's business. So
Dave Schaefer, the CEO of Cogent Communications, told The Intercept that he had no knowledge of the surveillance at the 8 AT&T buildings, but he said he believed, quote, the core premise that the NSA or some other agency would like to look at traffic at an AT&T facility. So he believes that premise. He said he suspected that the surveillance is likely carried out on a limited basis due to technical and cost constraints. I don't know if I buy that one. I mean, you were saying earlier.
Have you seen the data center in Utah?
Yeah. Where they're ingesting a bunch of data and they're like, it's water cooled.
It's not only big enough to analyze all data, probably it's big enough to decrypt encrypted data as well.
Scary.
So yeah.
He said here, if the NSA were trying to, quote, ubiquitously monitor, unquote, data passing across AT&T's networks, he would be extremely concerned. But yet that's, I think, what's being suggested here, if not absolutely yet revealed. Sprint, Telia, Tata Communications, Telecom Italia, and Deutsche Telekom did not respond to requests for comment. These are companies internationally and locally that use AT&T's backbone and their facilities, basically. CenturyLink, which owns Level 3, said it would not discuss, quote, matters of national security. So Level 3 is another one of these internet backbone peering companies, as I understand it. They're essentially one of AT&T's competitors, right? Yeah. At that level. So they're not even talking.
I mean, it's the difference between AT&T and CenturyLink, which CenturyLink is like a telephone and internet provider.
The 8 locations are featured on a top-secret NSA map, which depicts U.S. facilities that the agency relies upon for one of its largest surveillance programs, codenamed Fairview. AT&T is the only company involved in Fairview, which was first established in 1985, according to NSA documents, and involves tapping into international telecommunications cables, routers, and switches. In 2003, the NSA launched new Internet mass surveillance methods, which were pioneered under the Fairview program. The methods were used by the agency to collect, within a few months, some 400 billion records about people's internet communications and activity, according to the New York Times report. Fairview is also forwarding more than 1 million emails every day to a keyword selection system at the NSA's Fort Meade headquarters. Central to the internet spying are 8 peering link router complex sites, which are pinpointed on the top-secret NSA map. The locations of the sites mirror the maps of the AT&T networks obtained by The Intercept from public records, which show backbone node with peering facilities in Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, New York City, San Francisco, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. One of the AT&T maps contain unique codes individually identifying the addresses of the facilities in each of the cities. And among the pinpointed buildings, there is a nuclear blast-resistant windowless facility in New York City's Hell's Kitchen neighborhood. In D.C., a fortress-like concrete structure less than half a mile south of the U.S. Capitol. In Chicago, an earthquake-resistant skyscraper in the West Loopgate area. In Atlanta, a 429-foot Art Deco structure in the heart of the city's downtown district. And in Dallas, a cube-like building with narrow windows and large vents on its exterior located in the Old East District. It's just creepy. It just sounds creepy.
Yeah, it sounds to me like these buildings are fairly old. I mean, you can't I don't think they can build anything that can withstand a nuclear blast today. That's a direct nuclear blast, and it would be a direct nuclear blast. So these are probably fairly old buildings, at least some of them.
I bet you're right.
Probably most of them, I bet.
They've probably been in AT&T's hands for decades. Elsewhere on the west coast of the U.S., there are 3 more facilities. In downtown L.A., a striking concrete tower near the Walt Disney Concert Hall and Staples Center, 2 blocks from the most important internet exchange in the region. In Seattle, a 15-story building with blacked-out windows and reinforced concrete foundations near the city's waterfront. And finally, in San Francisco's South of Market neighborhood, a building where it was previously claimed that the NSA was monitoring internet traffic from a secure room on the 6th floor. The peering sites, known and otherwise in AT&T parlance as service node routing complexes, or SNRCs, were developed following the internet boom in the mid to late 1990s. By March of 2009, the NSA's documents say that they were tapping into, quote, peering circuits at the 8 SNRCs. So, I mean, this is absolutely confirmed, right? Like, they've got NSA documents, they've got AT&T former employees. This does not sound like some sort of occasional thing like this guy that they were talking to.
This is not conspiracy. This maybe was conspiracy if we go back 20 years. It's fact, yeah. I mean, there's no question about it. It's all in black and white here.
Yep.
You can download the documents from WikiLeaks and various other sources. There's interviews with AT&T workers. I mean, this is all stuff that's just been reconfirmed like a dozen times now over the last 10 to 20 years.
Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, we've got another update on the way about the podcast patent. Somebody has been trying to go after some of the world's most popular podcasters with patent law threats, and you've got an update on that story, Chris. We're going to get into it coming up. And you can share your thoughts as well. We'll post this full article, by the way, on our forum at forum.freetalklive.com because it's a long one.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com. Get the ultimate knife at an ultimate price. The Fox Karambit Knife. Finally available in the U.S. The Fox Karambit Knife opens with one hand, faster than you can pull a handgun. For utility, for defense, and for way less than other knives of this caliber. Go to theultimateknife.com. Truly the best knife you will ever own. And only available at theultimateknife.com. Use promo code RADIO at checkout for free shipping. Get the ultimate knife at the ultimate price at theultimateknife.com.
Citing their effortless physical strength, affability, and notable based hands, reports from the country's pools, lakes, and beaches have indicated that once again, the nation's Blakes coasted effortlessly through this year's seasonal lifeguard tryouts. Onion reporters spoke with Cincinnati Centennial Pool's manager, Charles Walker, about the exceptional performance of his Blakes.
We always see strong performances from Blakes, but this year's crop did especially well. Blake D did the 25-yard underwater swim in 86 seconds. Blake S and Blake C both carried subjects 40 yards without breaking a sweat.
In addition to qualifying as pool managers and certified aquatics instructors, the nation's Blake significantly outshined the nation's stewards in swimming, performing CPR, diving, and glistening.
I'm definitely looking forward to being a lifeguard this summer. I heard the test was kind of hard, but it was actually kind of easy.
Our Kaylas are looking pretty strong too. As long as we have a few Blakes and Kaylas out there on the weekends, we'll be set.
This is the Onion News Network.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here. If you want, you can take control of the airwaves at 855-450 free, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If you care about freedom, then you ought to go to liberty.menu. If you've got a business, for instance, that you want other libertarians to find out about, well, liberty.menu is the best place to go and list it. It's a libertarian business directory, but it also has categories for events and digital content creators. So whatever it is that you do, if you care about freedom, go and put your items, your entrepreneurial things that you do up on liberty.menu for other people to find out about. There's really no reason not to, because it's free to use liberty.menu. So do you want exposure for free for your business? Do you want people to know that you're liberty friendly? I mean, if you're afraid of people knowing you're liberty friendly, then you probably shouldn't go to liberty.menu. But if you want to either find businesses that are liberty friendly so you can patronize them, or you want to put out your business there so people can find you, then go to liberty.menu and get listed there for free. Again, it's liberty.menu. You can use code FTL on your user profile and get a Free Talk Live listener badge, if you like, at liberty.menu. As we continue here, it's Ian and Chris in the studio tonight. We're going to get into podcasting here in a few moments, but just a little bit more on the story about these AT&T, these creepy buildings that have been confirmed now as structures in which the NSA has equipment to essentially siphon off all manner of data from whatever AT&T's traffic that they're handling through these facilities that are connected to their internet backbones and such. And this article here from The Intercept is, I would describe it as exhaustively detailed. I mean,
oh yeah,
I don't even think I am. I mean, we've been going on this for half of the show here so far. Now, obviously, we've been commenting and talking about it. It's not like we're just reading the whole thing. But I'm not even, based on just the scroll bar on the right-hand side of the page, I'm not even through a fifth, maybe a fourth of this whole thing here.
I feel like it was like 20 pages long when I printed
huge.
it. It's absolutely huge.
And there's just a little bit more here that I do want to share. And they get into each individual building and sort of like the history of these buildings, from what I can tell. And they've got, like you were describing earlier, these pictures of these buildings, and they're just so creepy. I mean, they look so kind of Orwellian, like scary places. Like, this is not a place where good things are happening. The peering sites are known as Service Node Routing Complexes, or SNRCs, and there's 8 of them that have been identified thus far by both NSA documents and AT&T documents. The NSA's documents say they were tapping into peering circuits at the 8 SNRCs. The facility's purpose was to bolster AT&T's network, improving its reliability and enabling future growth. They were developed under the leadership of an Iranian-American innovator and engineer named Hossein Islambolchi, who was formerly AT&T's chief technology officer and president of AT&T Labs, a division of the company that focuses on research and development. He spoke to The Intercept and told The Intercept that the project to set up the facilities began after AT&T asked him to help create, quote, the largest internet protocol network in the world, unquote. He obliged and began implementing his network design by placing large Cisco routers inside former AT&T phone switching facilities across the U.S. When planning the project, he said he divided AT&T's network into different regions, and in every quadrant, he says, I will have what I will call an SNRC. During his employment with AT&T, Islambolchi said he had to take a polygraph test, and he obtained a government security clearance. Quote, I was involved in very, very top, heavy-duty projects for a few of these 3-letter agencies, he said in an apparent reference to U.S. intelligence agencies. He said further, they all loved me. He would not confirm or deny the exact locations of the 8 peering sites identified by The Intercept or discuss the classified work that he carried out while with the company. He said, quote, you put a gun to my head, I'm not going to tell you, unquote. Other former AT&T employees, however, were more forthcoming. A former senior member of AT&T's technical staff who spoke on a condition of anonymity due to the sensitivity of the subject confirmed with, quote, 100% certainty the locations of 6 of the 8 peering facilities identified by The Intercept. That source, citing direct knowledge of the facilities and their functions, verified the addresses of the buildings in Atlanta, Dallas, LA, New York City, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. A second former AT&T employee confirmed the locations of the remaining 2 sites in Chicago and San Francisco. Philip Long, who was employed by AT&T for more than 2 decades, serving as a technician on its network, said, quote, I worked with all of them. His work with AT&T was mostly carried out in California, but he said his job required him to be in contact with their other facilities in the U.S. In 2005, he said he received orders to move, quote, every internet backbone circuit I had in Northern California through the San Francisco AT&T building identified by The Intercept as one of the 8 NSA spy hubs. Long said that at the time he felt suspicious of the changes because they were unusual and, he said, unnecessary. He says, quote, we thought we were routing our circuits so that they could grab all the data. We thought.
Yep. It was more decentralized, and they decreased the decentralization is basically what's going on here.
He says, we thought it was the government listening. So at that time, when he was ordered to do this in 2005, they didn't tell him why he had to do what he had to do. They just told him, you got to do this. And he was like, this doesn't make any sense. This has to be for government surveillance.
Yeah. It's, it's interesting. So the buildings themselves really aren't like, you describe them as these scary places, but really, I mean, these buildings are essential. It is the internet. Now, the question is, how spread out are they? How big are they? How is it all interconnected? And there could be a lot more of these buildings, which would create more decentralization, which would be a good thing. But obviously, it's easier to tap into if there's fewer of them, right?
Correct.
So that's basically what's going on when he's saying he thought it was odd, because obviously it's more. It doesn't make sense to centralize everything. It does make sense to centralize to a large degree, because you want to have certain central places for different providers to come in and peer data. I mean, that is what these buildings are for, is for peering data. But at the same time, I mean, you could have more of them, and then it would be more resistant from a nuclear perspective, But the way it is, everything's being peered in one of very few places, and as a result, it's not.
So that's all I'm going to share from the story here. As I said, it's exhaustive. Every single building has a section basically in this article, and then at the end they also have the documents that they're citing here, so you can link to those as well should you wish. And I will put this full story from theintercept.com over on our Free Talk Live forum, which you can access over at forum.freetalklive.com. Now, let's talk about some of the solutions here, Chris, because it's one thing to say the NSA is listening, and there's a good chance they are, at least not as a human being, but some sort of data collection is going on.
They're analyzing it. Yeah. They're cool. Well, actually, you know what? Not only are they analyzing it, but they're just collecting it to use later. So if they want to know where you were at a given time 20 years ago, they can do that now. Yeah.
Creepy stuff. So what do you do to protect yourself? Well, you host a show that you've just launched called Freedom Decrypted, and the website is freedomdecrypted.com. It's brand new. You're on episode 0, basically. You just finished episode 0 before Forkfest, as I understand.
Yeah, that's correct.
So you took a couple weeks off. You went out to Forkfest, and you guys have episode 1 slated for this weekend.
Yes, that's right. Saturday, it will be a live show. I'm not entirely sure what time it's going to be airing, unfortunately. But it will be posted once it's, once it has aired, it'll be posted online, so you can download it
after the fact. You can watch it later. Mm-hmm. You can watch it live if you happen to be there live at freedomdecrypted.com. But later on, you can download. So you can go and download the first show, show number 0 or whatever, the test show, basically.
Yeah, it's basically a test show. It did work. It was successful.
Good.
There's an interview even.
And it's you and Johnson, so longtime listeners will know both of the main hosts.
Yes, that's correct.
Of freedomdecrypted.com. Go there, check that out. I haven't seen it yet, so I definitely want to catch, hopefully,
it came out good.
The show. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. We've all been busy catching
Not
up
perfect,
ever since
but good.
Getting back from the campground, I imagine. So there's more coming up here in moments. We'll get your assessment on, what do you do about all this NSA spying? Is there a way to actually protect yourself? Because as you said, they could tap in at like some of the lowest levels of your computer. So can you really do this these days? This is Free Talk Live. We'll talk about it coming up.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
You have been lied to. Generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies.
You create 9/11. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. goberkey.com.
Fact. The new NSA data center in Utah requires 1.7 million gallons of water every single day to operate. Billions of Fourth Amendment violations need massive computers and the water to cool them. That water is being supplied by the state of Utah. Fact. There's absolutely nothing in the Constitution which requires your state to help the feds violate your rights. Our message to Utah: turn it off. No water equals no NSA data center. Visit offnow.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever you want to discuss. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
We are talking about privacy in a day and age where it seems to be getting more and more difficult to acquire privacy. I mean, 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, without, the ubiquitous internet connections that we all have today, it was a little bit easier to stay off the grid. And you can still live off the grid these days. Just, once you get on the grid, man, you're on it. And it's hard to erase any, you can't take it back. The old Barbra Streisand effect or whatever. Once it's out there on the internet, there's no undos.
And even when you're off the grid, you're probably still on a satellite somewhere. So
probably.
If you've built a cabinet in the woods, they probably still have you. Yeah. I mean, it may not be constant surveillance, but it's, they still know where you are.
Yeah. So we were, if you're just tuning in, we were talking about this study or this large article here by theintercept.com about the AT&T facilities, these major facilities in 8 locations around the United States that handle all manner of internet traffic and could be used and are being used by the NSA to siphon off information. So the question is, and also you also talked about, Chris, that at the lowest level of computing technology, at the Intel chip level, at the BIOS level,
the thing that's in every single computer.
Yeah, that they have the ability to have a backdoor, basically.
It's built in. It's advertised technology. It's just they're not advertising it as a backdoor. They're advertising it as remote management technology for companies. But it's in every computer.
But a government agency could be given access to that remote management technology.
And not only that, we actually
theory.
know about how Intel's backdoor works, which is the crazy thing. So I can explain it. So basically what Intel does is there is a thing that basically checks, it authenticates whether or not another person is able to connect to your computer and remotely control it, right?
Okay.
And that authentication mechanism basically says, is this person authorized? Have they sent the right password basically to access this computer? If the answer is no, it doesn't allow that person in. If they send the correct password, it allows them in. If they send no password, it still allows them in.
What?
Yes, it's a backdoor in plain sight. So it's basically they can deny having intentionally written a backdoor in.
I see.
But yeah, so this is known fact.
This is old news.
Yeah, it's old news. It was fairly recent news within the last couple of years, but this is within the last 2 years this was revealed. And somebody figured out how it worked and how they could be manipulated and stuff. Now there are some things that can be done for those who are willing to go out of their way, potentially, which will potentially disable this. There is this feature that was designed for government basically to disable some of this low level stuff. Now you're still trusting that it is in fact disabled when you disable it, right? Mm-hmm. To some degree, that everything is disabled because we only know a portion of it. We know a portion of it's disabled, but we don't necessarily know if everything's disabled
because they've got closed source,
right? So because the sources are not available. So a technical person would have a very difficult time, especially with the way it was designed, to verify this.
Right. In the same way that if you hit the GPS button on your phone to toggle GPS off, it looks like it's off in the software.
It's not,
but it's not, or
right.
necessarily.
So the question that we have to ask ourselves is this the only backdoor? Because there could be multiple backdoors, and there's multiple backdoors in different components. So at the lowest level, is there only one? Maybe there is, and if we disable it, which we can do, you can actually order computers from Think Penguin and get systems with this Intel Management Engine firmware disabled, at least partially disabled. Mm-hmm. So it may, at that level, it may be fairly private, but we don't know with 100% certainty. And this is something that my company has been, and I personally have been very concerned about, and we didn't know many years ago for a fact, that our systems were backdoored, but it was pretty safe to assume that they almost certainly were. And so we started working on a solution to this problem. And
what is that?
The solution is to move away from Intel and AMD.
What other options are there? Like Chinese manufacturers?
There aren't, and that's the problem. Well, so there's CPUs for devices like your smartphone and other types of devices.
I know you guys were developing a very special device.
Right, and that's actually shipping October.
Oh, okay.
So it was delayed a little bit, but it is shipping.
Okay.
And that basically uses what's called an ARM CPU. Mm-hmm. And not all ARM CPUs. There's different ARM CPUs. Not all ARM CPUs.
ARM isn't a company. It's a structure, right, for computing?
Yeah. I mean, there is a company behind it, but then there's other companies that license it, and then they come out with their own CPUs, kind of SoCs.
Who is the creator of the ARM CPU? Because I know I've seen Motorola associated with it. Are they licensing it?
There's a lot of different companies. There's a lot. I think there's might be 30 or more companies that license from ARM. I think it's ARM Holdings or something. The design, and then they have different. So it's not like really one CPU. It's not like an Intel or AMD CPU.
This gets beyond my level of knowledge. The way I'd seen ARM or ARM was sort of as an alternative to like the x86 or x64 style.
It's not really an alternative. It's a design for different types of devices.
I see.
It's more geared for smartphones and tablets and things like that.
Got it.
And your media center, that or your cable box, for example, those types of devices. I mean, and there's different CPUs. There's some of them are more powerful, some of them are less powerful. Anyway, so some of the ones in phones are actually pretty powerful these days. And at the very highest level, they're actually beginning to get competitive with Intel and AMD. And
Okay.
people are gonna come out and criticize me all over the woodwork for saying that, but it is. You can get SoCs or system on chips, which are CPUs basically, that have 8 gigs of RAM, for example.
Yeah.
And I mean that's not how powerful the CPU is, but it just kind of gives you an idea that
this is bigger than just a smartphone kind of chip use.
They're pretty powerful.
Okay, but now, do you have access to the code behind these chips?
That's the question. So most ARM chips, the answer is no. But with some ARM chips, the answer is yes.
Uh-huh.
And right now we have basically a complete set of source code to design a card around a standard that will reduce the cost to designing devices that are not backdoored. So, yeah, I mean, basically the first card is only got 2 gigs of RAM and a dual-core CPU.
Is this the one that you're coming out with in October?
Yeah, this is the one that's shipping in October. So it's not that powerful.
You could run a laptop on that for like basic word processing.
And there is a laptop design based around this card. And when the next generation card comes out, you can upgrade it by simply popping the card out and sticking a new card in.
So you keep the laptop, the screen, the keyboard, and you can just upgrade with a pop-out card.
Exactly. Yeah. So it makes it more cost-effective, modular, and possible to design devices, not even just a laptop or a desktop, but different types of devices. Maybe you could design a phone around this, and it costs less to design that phone now because the main part is being produced for many, many, many different devices, as opposed to a single design that's specific to a single device. You're going to have a lot more of those manufactured, and it's going to take a lot longer to break even. And if there's not enough demand for that device, well, then all of a sudden that device you can't afford to manufacture it. Well, now you can, because it costs less to design each device, because you're only designing what's called a housing. And with once the housing's designed, you don't have to design the housing again and again and again for each generation. You just have to get a new card, and that card, because it can be used amongst many devices, gets manufactured in much larger
cost
quantity.
efficient.
Right. So it brings the costs down. It brings investments for each new device down. It does all this stuff that Intel and AMD and other companies don't want to make possible, because it basically eats into profits of these companies.
And it'll give you the ability, as you said, to audit the code to where you know there's no backdoor. Now, how do you know that's the code they're actually putting on the chips?
Well, because you can build it yourself, and we're building it. So,
okay.
I mean, yeah. So technically, we don't. We don't. It's a base foundation for a secure private system. It doesn't necessarily mean it is secure and private. But this is what you have to do to get to a point where you can design, a secure system. And we don't have the underlying technology to do that right now. What we do with this, but it, like I said, it hasn't shipped yet.
Right. So once this ships,
it's been in the works for several years.
Once this ships, the hardware will be there. It'll be secure hardware. Then you load up
it'll be
Linux.
Possible to design an operating system for it that you can.
You need a whole new operating system for this? Because isn't Linux pretty secure?
No, you can use Linux, and it will be Linux based.
Right.
So, but you still have to design a secure operating system if you want to audit code and things like that. So this is just the hardware, and if you really want to go out on a limb, you're going to want to examine the code and the pieces that you're putting into that system as well.
All right. Well, what about the people with computers today and who want to be more private? Let's talk about that coming up here in hour number 3. This is Free Talk Live.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Fire your stockbroker and hire yourself. I'm Scott Bauer, and I've been a professional trader for over 25 years. I've traded for Goldman Sachs and was the first Amazon market maker at the Chicago Board Options Exchange. I'm also the CEO here at Prosper Trading Academy, the leading educational firm teaching people how to trade the markets. For a limited time, I'm giving away one of my favorite secret trading techniques used by thousands of our students every day to help build their financial future. To learn this technique right now, call my 24/7 voicemail and just leave your email address. I'll email you my free trading technique right away. Just call 1-800-228-2155. This is the very information my students use every day to invest in their financial future. Again, call 1-800-228-2155 in the next 30 minutes and leave your email address on my voicemail. That's 1-800-228-2155. Call 1-800-228-2155.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, You know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, June 29th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,249 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,877. Antiwar.com reports Syrian and Russian warplanes continued airstrikes against rebel-held areas in the southwestern Daraa province, looking to soften up rebel defenses ahead of a planned offensive. Thursday was reportedly the deadliest day for civilians in those areas since the bombardment began over a week ago. The deadliest of Thursday's attacks was in Al-Musafra, where an airstrike hit a shelter full of civilians, killing at least 17 within. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, 5 children were among those slain. With towns like Al-Musafra likely to be attacked in the near future, large numbers of civilians are choosing to flee instead of hiding within. Over the past week, in excess of 50,000 civilians have fled, mostly towards the Jordanian border, where they hope to wait out the offensive. Daraa is the top priority target for the Syrian government at the moment as the last major rebel holding in the south. Once retaken, this effectively isolates the rebels into the far north in Idlib and the northernmost parts of Aleppo, where Turkish forces have propped up rebels. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Senate passed legislation on Thursday legalizing hemp as an agricultural commodity as part of an $867 billion farm bill. The provision was included in a wide-ranging agricultural and food policy legislation passed by the Senate by a vote of 86-11. Hemp will be removed from the federal list of controlled substances, and the cultivation, processing, and sale of industrial hemp will be legalized as part of the legislation. It will also allow researchers to apply for grants from the Agricultural Department and make hemp farmers eligible for crop insurance. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky praised passage of the bill. The Senate Farm Bill also lowered the adjusted gross income threshold for which farmers are no longer eligible for farm subsidies from $900,000 to $700,000. The bill also included fewer restrictions on supplemental nutrition program benefits, food stamps, than the version of the bill that passed the House last week. The House bill will cut benefits by $9 billion over the next decade and strengthens the work requirements for those seeking the benefits. The two bills will have to be reconciled before being sent to President Donald Trump for his approval. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports nearly 600 protesters were arrested during a clangorous occupation of a U.S. Senate office building in Washington on Thursday, where they decried U.S. President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance stance on undocumented immigration. The protesters, mostly women dressed in white, sat on the Hart Senate office building's marbled floors and wrapped themselves in metallic silver blankets similar to those given to migrant children separated from their families by U.S. immigration officials. Their chant, "Say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here," echoed through throughout the building, drawing scores of Senate staff to upper mezzanine floors where they watched the commotion. Capitol Police warned protesters that if they did not leave the building, they would be arrested. Soon after, protesters were lined up against a wall in small groups, and police confiscated their blankets and signs. It took police about 90 minutes to arrest them and end the demonstration. Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal sat with the protesters and was also arrested. Capitol Police said in a statement about 575 people were charged with unlawful demonstrating, and they would be processed at the scene and released. They said people who were charged and fined could pay their fines 24 hours after their arrest, but it was not clear who had been fined and how much. Democratic Senators Mazie Hirono, Tammy Duckworth, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Jeff Merkley, who have been critical of Trump's immigration policies, spoke with some of the protesters. Larger protests are being planned for Saturday in Washington, D.C. and cities around the country under the banner of #Families Belong Together. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A new video game is being criticized for its harsh portrayal of barbed wire. Here's GameBite's Caitlin Torres with more.
Bethesda's The Evil Within is a nightmarish adventure that shows bloody and rusty barbed wire being used to hurt innocent people, which has angered the nation's barbed wire producers.
Barbed wire is a positive force for good. It protects our junkyards from scrap metal thieves and helps keep our cattle ranches safe from rustlers. But Bethesda thinks it's okay to ignore all the benefits of barbed wire and make it look like some scary thing used by murderers.
The designers have promised that the game will feature prominent messages extolling the virtues of the sharp steel fencing. But barbed wire groups say that it's too little too late.
If Bethesda wants to make this right, they should have the main character go behind a fence and then be safe from monsters because they can't climb over the barbed wire to get him. Now that's a game I would play.
Let's hope Bethesda listens.
Thanks, Caitlin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of the program. We got plenty of time for you if you want to join us here on the radio waves and take control of those airwaves. You can bring up anything you want. You don't have to discuss privacy, although that's the topic that we're on right now. It is becoming, seems like a more and more elusive goal for people to achieve these days, what with the NSA siphoning off massive amounts of information from at least 8 different AT&T facilities that have now been identified by The Intercept in a very exhaustive article published earlier this week, which we've linked to you, or we will link to you later tonight over at the Free Talk Live forum, which you can join at forum.freetalklive.com. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
But Chris, and as you as a self-professed expert and somebody who I consider to be an expert on these privacy matters, you know privacy all the way down to the chip level when it comes to computers. You've certainly got the programming chops to, be able to look at that kind of thing. The average person can't do that. They don't know. They have to find an expert and trust that person, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's and there's very few people who have analyzed the different aspects of privacy, basically, and how to achieve it.
Is it still achievable?
It's becoming more achievable in certain respects.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and in other respects, it's also becoming more difficult, right?
Well, right, because they would have you believe, if you look at the Edward Snowden leaks that came out or have been coming out over the last several years, they'd have you believe that the NSA, all they got to do is type in your email address or your IP address or whatever, and then all of a sudden they can get into your entire computer regardless of whether you're on Windows or Linux or whatever. I mean, if you believe these claims, they have a tremendous ability to tap in.
Yeah, it's because they have the ability doesn't necessarily mean that they are doing it, right?
Sure.
So we're doing it to each individual one of us, and
that seems highly unlikely. They'd have to target you,
right? And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the low level stuff. I'm not talking about your average user. We're talking about somebody who's being targeted at that point.
If they're targeting you, they can own you like top to bottom.
Basically. They can, and they can own people in other countries without even entering the country, and that's the kind of low level, issues that I'm talking about when I'm talking about we need to develop the technology, the underlying low level technology, for your average person or Another example might be somebody like Ross Ulbricht. He would have been a good person to have something like what I'm talking about.
The device that has yet to come out, but will come out later this year.
Yeah. So
it's a little late for Ross, unfortunately. And by the way, for those that maybe weren't listening last night, as I understand it, they did discuss on the show the unfortunate but not surprising headline that the Supreme Court has rejected the petition from the Ulbricht family, from Ross Ulbricht, to review his case. So basically, as I understand it, that basically is the end of the road for Ross Ulbricht. He's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. He's got a double life sentence plus 40 years. So unless Donald Trump swings in with a pardon, and the odds that would ever happen are highly unlikely. Yeah. I saw Vin, who is our sometime Tuesday night co-host, saying that he thought that there was some possibility, and it's like, no, man,
I'm not holding my breath, but. There is always that slim possibility that something happens.
Is it possible? Sure.
It's more hope than possible. Likely? Let's put it that way. Yeah. No. I mean,
they should ask. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask for the pardon.
Look, there certainly have been people who have escaped. There's certainly people. Escape federal supermax prison. There are certainly people who have broken into prisons.
He ain't El Chapo, man.
Look, I'll give you that. But the point is that there's certainly been revolutions. There's certainly been people who have been held up for 25 years in, not prisons. I'm thinking more like, no, it's not Snowden. Julian Assange.
Yeah.
And governments change, and guess what? They eventually escape, in a sense.
Assange is still in his embassy.
He is. He's not a good example right now, but he hasn't been in there for 25 years. Right?
And governments don't change quickly.
They don't change quickly.
The idea that the war on drugs...
Who knows how long it would be if this were to happen? It's hard to predict what's going to happen in 25 years.
Yeah.
But he's pretty young. He might still be alive.
He's just barely 30-something.
Right. I mean, that'll make him, 55, something like that, probably? I mean, it's possible.
Well, I appreciate your optimism. I really do.
It's super, super, super optimistic. I will give you that.
I mean, Mark Edge can't even get... He's our one of our co-hosts. Mark can't even get a pardon from the governor of Florida, and he is out on the outside, and he's turned his life around. He went to prison for murder that he didn't commit. He was there when a murder was committed, and he was, sort of involved, but ultimately did not commit the actual murder. But none of that matters. All the nice things he's done since then, the family that he's created.
I have no hope for the current situation. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you on that. I'm just not,
Trump ain't going to end the war on drugs.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And his predecessor is not, or his antecessor. That who comes after Trump is not going to either.
I didn't think that the war on drugs would take the direction it did. I mean, we still have it, but it's not like it was, right? So
is it though? I mean, they're still cranking away on the war on drugs. It's just that a few states have pulled back a little bit on cannabis.
Sure,
but the DEA is still fully funded.
It's had a major effect. It may not have had a major effect on certain top level drug dealers and things like that. But at the lower level, it certainly had an effect. And when you look at what's happened at the state house, I mean, what did we have? We had something like 90% of the people in the House in New Hampshire vote to decriminalize marijuana. I mean,
that's true. That happened.
It seems really, really difficult to believe that anything is going to change for the better in Ross's case.
Yeah.
In 25 years, a lot can change. So
that's true. Well, like I said, I just wanted to mention that story had already been covered in detail, and you can grab that last night over at freetalklive.com, the Thursday episode of the show. But let's talk about some of the other things that people can do, right? So if they're targeting you, as you pointed out, they can probably own every device that you have from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So
if you really need privacy, you need to basically buy the hardware and make sure the software running on it is configured right. Otherwise, you're not going to have any hope against any kind of significant adversary like the government.
And by that you mean like the hardware that you guys are coming out with at thinkpenguin.com.
Yeah, I'm not even necessarily talking about our hardware that we currently have in our catalog. I'm talking about you need hardware that doesn't yet it's not
Doesn't
yet
exist.
available. Right. I mean, it's
so basically privacy doesn't exist at this point if they're
so
targeting you.
it's not all doom and gloom. All right. We're talking about really difficult circumstances, not your average person. All right.
Like if they're grabbing your keystrokes, as if you've got Signal, right, which is the sort of the go-to encryption app for text messaging on phones. Edward Snowden recommended it. People talk about it. I have it, right? People have it. Yeah. They use it. But if they're grabbing your texts as you're typing in, if every character as you type is being grabbed by the NSA before you even hit the enter key, before it gets encrypted, supposedly, and then sent, you're screwed.
And that's the problem. I think right now the situation with cell phones is hopeless. There's zero chance you can protect your. This is why there's
no privacy cell phone that doesn't exist.
When Snowden comes out and he says install Signal, and it requires your phone number, and it seems to me that it's almost like he's been put up there on a platform to intentionally mislead people.
Really?
And that's kind of like
that would be a conspiracy theory to win all conspiracy theories.
I don't know that's actually what's going on. I think it's probably more like he's not really competent enough and everybody looks up to him, and so he's giving advice that maybe he shouldn't be giving. But at the same time, it's like, who else is there, right?
Or what else is there?
Right. And I don't necessarily know that it's intentionally, deceiving. It's just that there's so few people who have a really good grasp on this stuff. And none of them are like really, they're not big figures, right?
Let's talk about the benefits of doing something.
Right. So
like installing Signal isn't a perfect solution, but at the very least, it would prevent, let's say, Sprint or US Cellular or whoever your cell phone company is and the local boy cops from being able to pull your text message logs and just look through.
Yeah, sure. I'm
text,
not going to tell somebody not to install Signal.
Yeah, it'll give you some level of additional protection, but it's not a guaranteed protection. If you've got something really sensitive, you shouldn't be putting it on a device like that.
If the
There's more coming up. Hold that thought. Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories. While I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open the Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. You dial 911 and the police roll. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive.
It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. We're talking about privacy and whether or not it is even an attainable goal today here in the 21st century. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
Don't forget, you've got an opportunity to go and pick up the Blink Home Security System at 15% off by using our URL. It's blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's /FTL like Free Talk Live. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. It is a super easy to set up home security system. It just doesn't get any easier than this. I know I've set up a few of these things. Go to get this thing. It's delivered to you. You unbox it. You put the batteries in the cameras, and then you put up the cameras wherever you want them. There's no running wires. There's no drilling holes, pulling wires through the walls, all the crap that you would have to do with a typical security system. And the quality is actually surprisingly good considering the really affordable price. You can, of course, customize it to set it up to operate whenever you want it to. So maybe you only want it running at nighttime or, whatever days and times that you want. And then when it's running, it will send you a clip of the things that happen in front of it. So if somebody comes into the room, it will send you that clip, and you'll be able to see it on your smart device that you've chosen to use. So go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. You'll get 15% off of your Blink Protect home security system. blinkprotect.com/FTL. As we continue here, we're going to go actually to your phone calls and thoughts. You can bring up what you want. We've been talking about privacy and security here and protecting your information from snooping eyes of government agents and such. But we've got Old Dirty Penguin on the line here, and actually it looks like I should have noticed this, his microphone is muted, so oh, there he is.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, you're on the air.
Yes, I just wanted to give you a call about the cycle of violence specifically with the military interventions and wars overseas.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
And yeah, and it's just that, by the time the first Gulf War happened in the 90s, we got into a situation where clearly we were getting over the trauma, just generationally with the Vietnam War. And clearly by then you could claim that you could realize that was so wrong. It was so horribly destructive, obviously, for the Vietnamese, but also, the generation of Americans that it affected, and then there's all the strife here and all the controversy over it. And it's okay to say that. It's seen as a horrible thing, a terrible thing. And now, by 2015, 2016, obviously the two wars in Iraq are seen basically as a mistake. Saddam should have been left in power. They should never have made intervention. There were so many horrible mistakes made. Now it's 2017, 2018. You start seeing I'm talking about the mainstream idea that the war in Afghanistan is a quagmire. Not just a quagmire. They've always said that, but it's just absolutely a mistake. Absolutely a absolute blunder. Just the opposite of anything that should have been done. And of course, there were all ulterior motives here.
Yep.
But how do we break the cycle? Because then we're on to the next war. We're saying, oh yeah, those wars were a horrible idea, but this war will be a great idea. How do we break that cycle? You know,
I don't know.
We're so far from World War II.
Yeah, because it does seem like whenever people get all whipped up into a war fervor, despite all of the failures that you've pointed out here over the years, it's like that this war's the right war. And then, of course, all the information comes out to show that, no, this was also, ginned up conflict. It was manufactured. It was a false flag or whatever other information will come out. And it's just like people just don't seem to learn the lesson, do they?
Apparently not. I mean, the only thing you can hope for is that people come to see the cycle for what it is and realize that
they won't.
It's generational, but you got to see it past generations.
It's human. I think a big part of it is that it's human. Human nature is probably the wrong word to use. It's in a very large percentage of our population. It's in their psyche, basically, to not think logically, and it's a small percentage of the population that does think logically, and as a result, the only way I think you could stop it is if you could somehow change. So it's sort of like human nature, but change that, right? But that's not necessarily a good thing either, because there are certain consequences to changing that. So I think ultimately what we have is a situation where you may be able to get a certain population together in, say, New Hampshire to come together and not have war here, but that's not going to stop the rest of the world from going to war.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, you're talking about is overriding instinct, and it's possible for humans to do that, but it does take a conscious effort to say...
It's a small percentage of people who can do it.
Right, to say that, the government wants to go to war again. Well, let's see. What happened every other time this has happened in the past? Oh, yeah, innocent people have been killed and civil liberties destroyed. And, okay, maybe we should just oppose this on principle.
We're manipulated, and the people who are more emotional are the ones who are going to jump up and, support the war. And a small percentage of us are not as emotional, and we think more logically. And those are the people who didn't jump up to, advocate or join the war like on 9/11, I mean, so many people did. And it's like, if you even said anything on 9/11 that was like not patriotic or might have made people, you would have been like slaughtered.
Because of the emotions running so high.
Yeah, because of the emotions running so high in the majority of people.
I mean, the tenuous case for the war in Iraq, the second war in Iraq, is just like, it's amazing they actually got that through, because there was no actual evidence of anything at all. And I mean,
but weapons of mass destruction, Saddam Hussein, weapons of mass destruction, yellow cake,
I know, aluminum tubes, I know. I remember all that. It's crazy. I was young, but I knew about all that. Man, I can see through it even as a very young person.
How young were you when 2011?
I was in ninth grade. I was in ninth grade when 9/11 happened, so I would have been in I guess 11th grade then. But
gotcha.
I could see it happening, and it was sad. It was kind of just broke my heart when it came to America, my country of my birth.
Yeah, I mean, I share your viewpoint on this, Chris. I don't expect you're going to see mankind make a conscious anti-war shift anytime soon. I'd love to see that happen. I mean, because war is so destructive, and then you could argue that the planet is more peaceful now than it has ever been. I think there's some statistics to back
because
up.
You have very few large entities in control, so there's no
well, but even from a violent crime aspect in the United States and international conflict, it is a more peaceful world now than it's ever been. So maybe that's a direction that we can hope for into the future. But
I think some of that though is down to certain changes in our environment. More so than like some sort of conscious thing that we did.
You may be right. If people are more comfortable, less starving people are more likely to go and fight other people, right?
Right, but it's not even desperate. It's not even that. I mean, certainly desperation is part of it, but if you look at like lead and certain other environmental aspects, like they got lead out of gasoline, and if you look at the crime and violent crime especially, it's declined as a result. Like you can look at graphs and you can just see how it's affected violent crime rates and stuff, and you can look at different populations where that they didn't do that, and you could just see how it isn't all a lot of violent crime especially is not we've been affected by certain things that we've done, and changing those things has resulted in improvements. It wasn't like we locked up more people so we have less violent crime.
Yeah,
right?
that wasn't the reason. Yeah, for sure. Hey, Old Dirty Penguin, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate the discussion. Appreciate you bringing that topic up. I think that, there can be deliberate changes made, but people have to make those choices. And I think you made a good point. It's like, let's get the libertarians, the ones who do get this, together into the same place so we can at the very least have an anti-war place to live. More coming up.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free, take control of the airwaves, bring up anything that you want. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Chris.
Don't forget you can join us online. Head over to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features we got for you completely free. Now, if you want to get a better sleep, some better sleep at night, you might want to try the MyPillow, and there's really very low risk in trying the MyPillow because they have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if you order the MyPillow at mypillow.com, you can actually get 2 premium pillows for one low price and get free shipping when you use promo code FTL, like Free Talk Live. And if for whatever reason you don't think it's the best pillow you've ever used and you want to send it back to them for your refund, you can do that. They will refund you your purchase price when you ship them back within the 60-day money-back guarantee window. And it really is that good of a product. That's why they're standing behind it with that guarantee. So go to mypillow.com with promo code FTL to once again get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for that low price, plus the free shipping. mypillow.com, promo code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. We got Sarah. She's on the line in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm thinking of moving permanently to New Hampshire, where you guys are at.
No, you're not.
Oh.
No, you're not.
Well, how about it? You know what? Moving from #1 in pedestrian fatality state to the #1 in pedestrian safety state. You guys are the safest for pedestrians.
But Sarah, there's no red light cameras here.
Yeah, but you know what? You guys have pedestrian safety. That's what I'm looking for. Whether it's
is that correct?
Red light cameras.
New Hampshire is a state in which pedestrians have some level of legal protection, meaning that if somebody's in a crosswalk, the traffic is supposed to stop for that person.
Yeah.
That, of course, doesn't mean the traffic always stops.
Right.
And in fact, some people just ignorantly will just waltz right out into traffic without even looking.
That's not necessarily what would be the reason that it would be #1 in terms of safety. I mean, we're talking about pedestrians killed or something to that effect.
Well,
right?
New Hampshire drivers do tend to be fairly courteous, I think, is what I've seen. So for some people, it actually frustrates them. Like for people that are coming from New York, where everybody's super aggressive on the roads, New Hampshire's very different because people are much more let you in kind of.
I would definitely agree. Yeah. It just seems to me like it's more, it's more laid back, more relaxed here.
I think so.
And I think that's more likely what is probably, if that is the case, that's leading to less deaths.
Well, it would be interesting to see what, the alleged factors are in that particular case. But Sarah, I mean, maybe it's because hardly anybody's out during the wintertime, right? Like there's nobody walking around. So half the year or more than half the year, it's so cold. There's almost no pedestrians whatsoever.
You probably have to compare it with other northern cities.
Yeah, that would be a more fair comparison. Whereas, New Mexico, I mean, it's pretty much walking season all year long, I'd imagine. But Sarah, you wouldn't like it in New Hampshire because communists don't really. It's not really a communist place, and you've self-described as a communist, so I don't think you'd like it here.
Well, you know what? You know that you have the homeless shelters where they get their own room. That convinced me.
What?
You told me the homeless. I have never heard of any homeless shelters where they get their own room.
In New Hampshire?
Well, I don't. Okay, so I don't know how the state-run homeless shelters work, but the homeless shelter that I support is one where you don't get your own room, where you I donate money to the 100 Nights homeless shelter.
Maybe 60 beds at the most, right? 30 to 60 beds, something like that?
They only open for the 100 coldest nights of the year, so they're not even open for 80, 75% of the year or whatever. And they kick everybody out at 7 a.m. So you don't even get your own bunk.
No, but you talked about where they get their own room. I don't know if it's a state one. I have never heard of a homeless shelter like that.
Well, like I said, they may have that with the state-run homeless shelters. I've heard rumors that may be the case. But there are other places where they have that. Why don't you check New York City? They've got a lot of, or Seattle. They've got a lot of homeless programs in places like that. I think you're going to find that New Hampshire is actually relatively uncomfortable for homeless people, even though we have food banks and 100 Nights shelter. It's still pretty cold out there a lot of the year.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about, but that's what the shelters. I mean, so don't you want one more homeless person?
No, we don't want you here. Let's be clear.
Sarah, you're not actually homeless, are you?
No, she's on Section 8.
Well, I am
right.
not,
okay, so she's got a home.
If I move, no, I have a Section 8 and all that. But when I move, I'm going to have to just dump everything and go find low-income housing in New Hampshire.
Yeah, well, you don't even have any income. I mean, you just have government money coming in. You don't even work.
If you were willing to work, it's not. New Hampshire's not that expensive. It's just you have to do some.
But we
work.
don't want any commies moving to New Hampshire. I mean, we got enough commies up here.
Oh, I mean, I agree. I agree with you totally.
Why not find a communist state and move there? I mean, go to North Korea or something like that. I've heard they've got some really good homeless programs there.
I was thinking Vermont here would be better, but
you would have to subsidize me another $100 for me to live in New Hampshire. It's so expensive.
Wait, why would I have to subsidize you? Oh, she just hung up. I don't know what happened there.
Huh.
I guess that was the end of her call. But yeah, we didn't hang up on her. Look, commies, if you're a voluntary communist, if you're somebody who doesn't want to actually have the government force communism on people, I don't care if you live in New Hampshire. But if you're one of these government leeches like Sarah there in New Mexico, you're not gonna fit in up here because New Hampshire is a very independent place. The Granite Staters, the native population, they tend to be very freedom-loving people, very independent-minded people. That's not to say there aren't people like Sarah to be found here. Obviously, we're in close proximity to Vermont and Massachusetts, so clearly people like that are going to be found in New Hampshire. It's just that we want to get more libertarians to move here so we can make New Hampshire the freest. I mean, it already is arguably the freest state. If you look at the Freedom in the 50 States study that has been done over the last few years, they rank number one is New Hampshire. But the more libertarians, the more freedom-friendly people we can get here, the more we'll solidify that lead, the more New Hampshire will be the clear choice for people that care about liberty. And as you were pointing out earlier, the people who are anti-war, for instance, people who believe in freedom, those are the kind of people we want to come here. We don't want people who depend on the government. We don't want people who are demanding a handout. This isn't the free state as in you get everything for free. There actually was some people who moved here thinking that was the case.
And it's not, while this is all true, everything you're saying is true. You do have to understand that libertarians in general, I would say they're actually very charitable, but that doesn't mean that they're going to supply you with a house to live in and food and everything 365 days of the year, right? Like they might help you, during the coldest nights of the year, as an example. I mean, if you're one of these people who thinks that everything has to be handed to you, this is not really a good place to move.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the, misunderstandings around libertarianism is that it's this sort of cold thing, right? Where it's all about...
And it's not at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think libertarians do tend to be charitable, however...
And that's in spite of high taxes.
Correct.
And money being taken and redistributed.
But what I think a lot of libertarians want to see is some progress for that charity, right? Not to just hand out things to people, but to see people growing, to see them actually wanting to change their station in life. See people that would come into a homeless shelter, leave with new skills or getting a job and, having some sort of progress rather than somebody like Sarah who is just living off the dole. She does absolutely nothing, even though she could do something, because her claim, she's been calling the show for a long time, and she's one of the more regular callers that we have, so we kind of know a thing or two about her from all of her calls. And, the fact is, she absolutely could work. She's absolutely capable of working, but she believes she's not. And so she doesn't, because she doesn't have to. She's got money coming in from the government. She has her house paid for.
I mean, she's been told that she doesn't have to work.
Right.
So why would you work?
She's got disability. I mean, she's clearly capable of, let's say, working a phone. She can call this show. She can speak. That means she could do customer service work, right? Like over the phone. She could do phone sex if she wanted to over the phone, right? Like there's plenty of things you can do to where you don't even have to leave your house. There's work available out there. I mean, you can go to Walmart and see some very, let's say, inept people, greeting you at the door. They can't do much else, but Walmart's got a job for them, so they can greet you at the door. You don't have to have the highest faculties to get a job in the United States. But Sarah is very anti-work. And so somebody like that, I don't want to see him move to New Hampshire. I want productive, entrepreneurial, good-spirited people who are...
Or at least able to do what they, do something, even if it's not much.
More coming up.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Hello, this is Dr. Bill Deagle, MD of NutriMedical.com, announcing the breakthrough Red Deer Velvet DR. It delivers the protected building blocks of all organs and tissues, allowing your own stem cells as architects and engineers to regenerate you. Not since fetal life, when aging does not occur, has such an amazing NutriMed been available to help heal you and regenerate you. Anti-aging requires that you correct mineral, activated nutraceutical, and jump the gene defects and poor diet you have to deliver the cellular tools for rejuvenation. You must remove old damaged cells and replace them with your young healthy cells to wind the biological clock to a younger you. Order your Red Deer Velvet DR now at NutriMedical.com 24/7 or 888-212-8871. That's NutriMedical, NUTRI, medical, MEDICAL.com. Or call our order line 888-212-8871.
Free Talk Live.
I mean, what I'm saying is that if you do something that could cause harm, you should be prosecuted for it.
Private Manning was prosecuted for it. Private Manning was in jail for 7 years. Private Manning was given a 35-year sentence, which is by far and away the largest sentence ever given to a person that was a whistleblower.
Not a whistleblower.
There's a video of a helicopter gunning down reporters. That's a war crime.
But ultimately, the people in the military are following the orders of thugs and liars and criminals in Washington, D.C., and as much information and as much light can be shed about their activities should be shed on their activities.
And gunning down journalists and then laughing about it is a war crime. And anybody that's defending that is an absolutely horrible, despicable person.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free to take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever's on your minds. Even in these remaining moments, we've got enough time for you if you dial in now. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
By the way, we were talking a little bit in the last segment about libertarian types moving to New Hampshire, picking up their lives and migrating here as part of this New Hampshire freedom migration that's been going on for many years at this point. It's been going on more than like 15 years. And you can join that and learn more about it by going to the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. It's a great documentary film that I had the pleasure of being one of the co-producers on over at 101reasonsfilm.com. Check that out there. It only takes an hour to watch. And you can break it up into segments, watch it over a few days if you want to, if you're real time challenged. But if you care about freedom and you don't really know what's happening here in New Hampshire, you really owe it to yourself to learn more about it. So 101reasonsfilm.com. Go there, check that out. That's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why you and I even know each other, Chris. You were from
absolutely.
New Jersey. I was from Florida. We otherwise would probably have never crossed paths if it weren't for this this migration that has brought so many great liberty-friendly people to New Hampshire.
It's such a crazy idea, and I can only say thank you for the people who moved early and
sort of laid the groundwork.
If people hadn't laid the groundwork, I wouldn't be here. I mean, it just seems like this crazy, impossible idea, and
it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. It's really happening, and it's hard to believe, even as I see it happening.
So you've got an updated story I wanted to get into here, but let me remind our listeners to please amp the show over at amp.freetalklive.com. We were talking earlier off the air about supporters of Free Talk Live, and we were talking about your new show, freedomdecrypted.com, which is going to go into its first official episode tomorrow.
It will.
Very exciting. About how getting people to support the show directly is an important thing, and that's one of the things that the AMP program allows our listeners to do. It's a surprisingly small portion of the listeners do it, so if you think that other people are going to pick up the ball for you, look, if you like what we do here on Free Talk Live, please get behind the show. It's $5 a month. You can use PayPal, you can use credit card, you can use BTC, you can use Bitcoin, whichever one of those you want to get signed up. And you get some cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcasts, which doesn't have the regular commercials our normal podcast does. There's an AMP-only Facebook group for those of you still on Facebook. And there's also AMP-only chat rooms on our Discord forum. And there's more than that. Go and get all the details at amp.freetalklive.com. But importantly, it's money that allows us to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. It's basically our marketing budget, and we use that to reach out to new radio stations. Just got a major new station on board, and I guess I should probably officially announce it tomorrow night because they're only on with us for Saturday nights. But one of the biggest radio stations in the United States, talk radio, is carrying Free Talk Live on Saturday nights now, and
that's the biggest night of the week, right?
It's our biggest night of the week, and this is one of the biggest stations. Like, people in the Northeast will know these call letters. And even people outside of the Northeast might know these call letters. Like, it's big. So that's all I'll say right now. And it's the reason why we got this station. They've actually been on since January, but I wasn't able to get them to sign the agreement. Because, we don't care. If you want to run Free Talk Live, go ahead. Run Free Talk. Like, if you're a radio station owner, go ahead. Put us on the air. Like, we want people to hear the show. But I don't feel comfortable promoting that we're on a station unless I've got a signed document saying that we're on that station. That's just one of the little rules that I have for promoting the fact that we're somewhere. And so we were at the Talkers Convention a few weeks ago in New York City, and I saw the program director of this radio station, who I'd never met before, went up to him and had a nice conversation with him. He really likes Free Talk Live. And I was like, well, can I get you to sign the agreement? Like, I'll send you I'll pre-fill the thing out for you. I'll send it over to you. He said, yeah, man, no problem. He sent it to their legal department, and they got it back to me. So we're good to go there. And I'll announce which station that is tomorrow night. But it's humongous, 50,000 watts on AM. It doesn't get any bigger than that. And that's the nighttime signal. So they don't even cut power at night. They're 50,000 watts at night in one of the major cities in the United States. So that's all I'll say right now. It's because of the AMP program. It's the AMP program that sends us to that Talkers conference. It's the AMP program that allows us to advertise to radio, and it's listeners like you that amp the show that make that possible. So please go to amp.freetalklive.com. Updated story on the podcast patent.
So this story is from the EFF.
Yeah. Electronic Frontier
Great
Foundation.
news. Yes, the Electronic Frontier Foundation. The EFF wins the final victory over the podcasting patent holders. Back in 2013, the podcasting community was freaking out. A patent troll called Personal Audio LLC had sued comedian Adam
Carolla.
Carolla, yeah.
One of the most popular podcasts in the United States.
And
he's huge.
Yeah, and was threatening a bunch of smaller podcasters. Personal Audio claimed that the podcasters infringed on their patent, which claims a system for disseminating media content in a serialized episodes. This is just so insanely ridiculous, this patent. It's basically like posting it on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Claiming that they've patented the idea of
Right.
posting a thing on the internet.
Right.
But yet it took 5 years to get this ruling.
Yeah, it did. And there was multiple wins, so to speak, in quotes. EFF challenged the podcasting patent at the Patent Office in October 2013. We won that proceeding, and it was affirmed on appeal. Today, the Supreme Court rejected Personal Audio's petition for review. The case is finally over.
All right.
So they took it all the way, or they attempted to take it all the way to
Yeah.
the Supreme Court. It just seems so ridiculous, especially when it's like it's not even something that's really patentable.
Well, apparently the courts finally agreed with that.
I mean, they seem to have mostly agreed all. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know if we can say they agreed all along because it was. Well, let me continue. We won the victory with the support of our community. More than 1,000 people donated to EFF Saves Podcasting campaign. We also asked public to help find prior art. So basically, what happened was they found prior art and they took it to so the court system is very expensive to fight these patents in. But what they did was they took prior art to the Patent Office and got the Patent Office to invalidate the patent. And so what happened from that point was Personal Audio was trying to say that this is not a legal way to invalidate like a patent or something, which it is, but nonetheless. And the courts basically have now said that they don't, it is a legal way to invalidate a patent. In April 2015, EFF won at the Patent Office. The Patent Trial and Appeal Board invalidated all the challenge claims of the podcasting patent, finding that it should not have been issued in light of two earlier publications, one relating to CNN news clips and one relating to CBC online radio broadcasting. So basically, it was going on exactly what they patented prior to the patent being issued even.
Yeah.
So it should never have even been issued. Personal Audio appealed that decision to the Federal Circuit. The podcasting patent expired in October 2016 while the case was on appeal. So they weren't even, this is a funny thing. So one of the things.
So the patent itself had expired.
It already expired. But so what they were going after were people who had been podcasting prior to this. So they're going after damages at that point.
Well, a lot of these patent trolls will threaten, right? They'll come in and they'll threaten a suit and they want you to settle. Because, as you pointed out, it's expensive to go to court.
Right.
And it's usually cheaper to just go ahead and settle out of court. So these trolls, which are attorneys, will leave you alone.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually try and fight something, it can get into the millions of dollars, potentially. So,
and ain't no podcast worth that for the most part.
Yeah, we were actually sued by a patent troll. And I can't disclose what happened with that, unfortunately. The details, anyway.
Can you disclose whether or not you won?
It was settled out of court.
I see.
And we did do well. Given all things considered, we made out.
You did all right.
We did good. But yeah,
but part of the settlement is you can't talk about it.
I can't talk about the amount that the settlement was for, is what I can't talk
Can you even say who paid? Was it you or the...
You can go online and search. I don't even remember the name of the
troll.
The troll that sued us. But no, it wasn't even what they sued us for had nothing to do. It was a Wi-Fi, is what they were claiming. It was a Wi-Fi patent, but it predated Wi-Fi, and it was actually related to, I believe, ISDN lines.
Wow.
And... Yeah, they were like somehow trying to stretch it into saying because there's multi-stream mixing or something, somehow Wi-Fi, it's a Wi-Fi patent. It didn't make any sense. It was funny because we actually had one of the persons who was involved in that patent say this has nothing to do with Wi-Fi and it in no way could be used to... but the problem is that trying to fight it in the court is going to be expensive. So it's already more expensive to pay basically in a lot of these cases, and I can't say my particular case, but you will pay the lawyers more than you will pay the settlement. Right.
Yep.
So there's no way
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean you're basically forced into settling.
Right. These patents need to be abolished. That's a whole other discussion on intellectual property, but good to know that the patent trolls who are trying to destroy podcasting have failed. And thanks to the Electronic Frontier Foundation for helping back those guys.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they do a
otherwise
lot
it
of
would have
good
been able
work.
to afford it.
Yeah, it's exactly. And users, too, and people who support the EFF.
We are out of time tonight, but you can join us between now and tomorrow night's show online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com and check out Chris over at freedomdecrypted.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, June 29th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,249 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,877. Antiwar.com reports Syrian and Russian warplanes continued airstrikes against rebel-held areas in the southwestern Daraa province, looking to soften up rebel defenses ahead of a planned offensive. Thursday was reportedly the deadliest day for civilians in those areas since the bombardment began over a week ago. The deadliest of Thursday's attacks was in Al-Musafra, where an airstrike hit a shelter full of civilians, killing at least 17 within. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, 5 children were among those slain. With towns like Al-Musafra likely to be attacked in the near future, large numbers of civilians are choosing to flee instead of hiding within. Over the past week, in excess of 50,000 civilians have fled, mostly towards the Jordanian border, where they hope to wait out the offensive. Daraa is the top priority target for the Syrian government at the moment as the last major rebel holding in the south. Once retaken, this effectively isolates the rebels into the far north in Idlib and the northernmost parts of Aleppo, where Turkish forces have propped up rebels. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Senate passed legislation on Thursday legalizing hemp as an agricultural commodity as part of an $867 billion farm bill. The provision was included in a wide-ranging agricultural and food policy legislation passed by the Senate by a vote of 86-11. Hemp will be removed from the federal list of controlled substances, and the cultivation, processing, and sale of industrial hemp will be legalized as part of the legislation. It will also allow researchers to apply for grants from the Agricultural Department and make hemp farmers eligible eligible for crop insurance. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky praised passage of the bill. The Senate Farm Bill also lowered the adjusted gross income threshold for which farmers are no longer eligible for farm subsidies from $900,000 to $700,000. The bill also included fewer restrictions on supplemental nutrition program benefits, food stamps, than the version of the bill that passed the House last week. The House bill will cut benefits by $9 billion over the next decade and strengthens the work requirements for those seeking the benefits. The two bills will have to be reconciled before being sent to President Donald Trump for his approval. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports nearly 600 protesters were arrested during a clangorous occupation of a U.S. Senate office building in Washington on Thursday, where they decried U.S. President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance stance on undocumented immigration. The protesters, mostly women dressed in white, sat on the Hart Senate office building's marbled floors and wrapped themselves in metallic silver blankets similar to those given to migrant children separated from their families by U.S. immigration officials. Their chant, "Say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here," echoed throughout the building, drawing scores of Senate staff to upper mezzanine floors where they watched the commotion. Capitol Police warned protesters that if they did not leave the building, they would be arrested. Soon after, protesters were lined up against a wall in small groups and police confiscated their blankets and signs. It took police about 90 minutes to arrest them and end the demonstration. Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal sat with the protesters and was also arrested. Capitol Police said in a statement about 575 people were charged with unlawful demonstrating and they would be processed at the scene and released. They said people who were charged and fined could pay their fines 24 hours after their arrest, but it was not clear who had been fined and how much. Democratic Senators Mazie Hirono, Tammy Duckworth, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Jeff Merkley, who have been critical of Trump's immigration policies, spoke with some of the protesters. Larger protests are being planned for Saturday in Washington, D.C. and cities around the country under the banner of #FamiliesBelongTogether. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A new report by the Department of Health and Human Services has found that the average male is 4,000% less effective in fights than he imagines, casting powerful doubts on many men's claims that they could take someone out in 2 seconds or smash a guy's face in with their fist.
On average, men describing hypothetical fights overestimated their level of combat skill by a